Well, here we are. RJ was here, but he was having trouble with his link, so he dropped off to come back. I expected Luke would be here by now. I guess he'll make it. Oh, let me get a mic check. I assume I can be heard. Whoa. Somebody let me know if you can hear me, please. It's great, Lou. Terrific. Hey, Shell. Zachary. Whip out the green father. Craig Doniger. All right. Well, we got that much going. The link is posted. This is a different format. Um, it's a much better one that really lends itself to live chat. So feel free to come up. We'll do a multiple screen for anybody who's here, and we'll carry on for a while. We've been doing this for a couple of weeks, Monday and Thursday evenings, and it usually goes about 2 hours. So we'll be in and out, back and forth. We're broadcasting on half a dozen channels, which I discovered today YouTube apparently does not like. Don't know why. I mean, what's it to them? Really? It's just more views. Um, but we've been getting notices. The problem is it's it's a copyright or a potential copyright infringement, and that's where the algorithm gets all bollocksed up because it looks like one channel is stealing from another. So it's just kind of amusing. But it's people are spread out on all platforms. Yeah, which for chat purposes is not particularly helpful because you can't, if you're on one platform, you don't get the chat on another. So it's much more show oriented and much less chat oriented. The reality at this point is that probably 75+% of the chat is on Father Fish. So you're really not going to miss much. But Mary's got people coming up on her platform. Here's a RJ. Let's see. See if there he is.
I think I'm back.
You sound like you're back.
No
Can
sound.
can you hear me?
Okay, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. I don't know if I can turn my volume up. I think it's already
Long
up.
off, I'll be back again. If you can hear me, I'm just going to try it again.
Yeah, I can hear you. We're getting that static again that we were getting last time. He's got a loose wire, I think is the problem. He has an old 20-year-old mic and it won't spring for a new one. And I think that's the problem. Stephen! Stephen B, nice to see you. Stephen, you need to come up here and join us. Is it your
Let's
is
see,
it that
do we have sound?
oh we do wonderful.
We have no sound. Let me see what's going on my end.
It's your cable,
More actions.
the wire.
Forward setting, share video, select background. Why is there no sound? This usually works.
Oh, I hear you.
Settings.
Yeah. Finn can hear us, but I can hear him. He can't hear me. So I don't know.
Let's see.
That was interesting. What is that?
No, still don't hear you. I changed the audio codec. It plays on the test. Settings. Speakers. Default.
How about now?
Now I can hear you. That made a difference.
That's interesting.
What was it?
It was me.
Wow.
I was muted.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's
But
that
it
makes
was-
a difference.
But I was not muted on StreamYard, so everybody else could hear me.
Oh, okay. No, I
I
was.
just could not be heard on the platform. I just noticed my microphone had a line through it. I don't know when that happened or how that happened. That's weird. Stephen, the biologist, is here. Yes,
I don't know.
New
You know,
York
like I said,
State.
I try to keep old tech around
Okay,
as
good
long as it
connection.
works, and then I only upgrade when it's later.
Good. Phone cuts are even worse. Back in the States soon.
Hi, Stephen.
Be back in the States soon. Well, looking forward to it, Stephen. We're excited about you coming back. I'm really excited about your research. Once you get that together, I very much be interested in seeing what you've been working on for the past year. That's going to be exciting. And I think you're going to be delighted with the Discord channel. It's really taken off. We will hit 1,000 members by the end of the year. We're right now at about almost 960. And we seem to average one or two a day. So we're going to definitely be nailing 1,000. And we got some really cool new people in. So it's very exciting. It's a lot of fun.
Well, it's nice to grow a community. Let's face it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You know, we have isolated ourselves for so many years as fish keepers and hobbyists that, you know, sometimes we forget this whole hobby started as a community thing. You know, vast fish clubs with hundreds of members. You know, that's how it started. Back in the 1920s, it was the place to be on a Friday night or whatever. So, you know, this wasn't the way it always was.
God, I don't know anything about that far back.
Rosario does that lecture. That was one of his favorite stuff.
Is that right? Huh.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
go and this is you know, he used to actually go out to like sewage treatment plants and find
Black worms. red.
Tubifex worms.
Yeah, Tubifex. That's
You
right.
go to places like Newark to collect Tubifex worms, and
Tubifex
Elizabeth,
and
and places
Daphnia.
that sane
Right.
people don't go to get Tubifex. And,
Yeah.
glassworms and that kind of stuff. So that's how the early hobby actually started.
Oh, I know. I know about that. Henry Hall told a wonderful story
But he also talks about the meat.
about the meat. The meetings, you mean? Oh, right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the meetings. Everyone in town would come together to do them.
Huh.
Like there'd be hobbyists. Just lots of people bringing guppies when guppies and.
So he
very
was
early
in.
fish
He
became
was at what? New York, New Jersey, Northern Jersey.
New Jersey. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was. Well, that was one of the big places where the hobby started.
it
It was
was.
all
That's
up and down
right.
the coast.
Yeah, it was
You know.
Northern Jersey, New York City. That's really where
That's
it
it.
started. Yeah.
And then
And
it
then
went
it-
up and down the coast.
Then it moved into Philadelphia,
Correct.
Maryland, Baltimore, I guess,
Hmm.
D.C.,
Yep.
and
Net
that was
frame.
it for years. There was nothing beyond that. And then it just
Uh-huh.
started moving south and west.
Right, but the
So-
hobby originally started around here, and Rosario is one of the last of the solid, serious dinosaurs left. And he's 92, 93 now. So he's not coming to meetings anymore. He's on his oxygen tank. And he's still with his wife. They've been married over 70 years. Him and Ginny, Georgini. I can't hear you now. Your mic's out again. Oh, we're having technological fun. But no, I can't hear a word you're saying. I'll log out and back in. Still no sound. Are you sure you're not losing sound somewhere? If you can hear me. There it is. Where you did. I hear you.
Huh. Son of a gun. It's my fancy new mic. Is that better?
Yeah. That's perfect. You're back. It started dropping out in bits and pieces, and then you were gone.
Huh.
Is it possible? Does your mic have a battery that could be dying?
I don't think so. I've had it plugged in. The light was off. So it could be dying. It's possible. We'll see how it goes. Josh is here. Let me let him in. Josh, there he is. Hi,
How's it going?
good to see you. How are you?
Pretty good. Did you get the audio back on?
Yeah, I think that his Father Fish's microphone battery is.
Yeah,
dying.
it was a microphone pro. I got this new microphone that Luke recommended, and I don't know how to use it.
Right on.
I had it not turned on. Now it's all on. Both of the blue lights are on, so it's working for a while. Let's see, I need to.
It's those blue lights that are draining your batteries.
That's what it is, right?
Well,
Anyway,
listen.
I've been trying to get to two stories. You were saying that Rosario is 92 and he and his wife are
Married
still
70
alive.
years.
Wow.
70 years
My
married.
father's brother is 95. His wife is 94. They've been married 72 years.
Yep, that's scary.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that amazing?
That's
sent
scary.
out- He sent out a Facebook notice to everybody saying, everybody get hold of me. Talk to me. I don't know. I think he may be getting lonely or something. I don't know.
Well, after 70 years, what do you talk to your wife about? I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, you know,
The days of that.
Mike's gone again. You're off. Josh, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so we're still around. Father Fisher's got too much technology issue. You know, I have a friend of mine who's a computer programmer and an engineer.
The light
one of
keeps going out on the.
And one of the things when he makes software that works, he goes, the customers keep coming back asking for bells and whistles. By the time they get all their bells and whistles, the software hardly ever works.
Yeah, right.
But it doesn't.
That's how it worked out.
Am I back now?
You're back now. Now you're with us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to get rid of it.
Gotcha.
The light's going out on it.
Your batteries are dying, is my guess.
Shouldn't be. I've had it plugged in for days. Weird.
Yeah, that's the fun with rechargeable batteries.
Yeah, I guess. That's what's happening. I'll just keep an eye on it.
Or just, do you have a regular mic? Like my $1?
Yeah,
the
I
$1
can do away with this. Yeah, I can.
My infamous $1 microphone, which just works.
Right.
After 20 years, I will not replace it until it dies, or until you guys can't understand what I'm saying, whichever happens first. But then, if you can't understand what I'm saying, there's a shot I'm just going senile, and that could be a problem too. And the microphone might still be good.
Yeah.
I'm saying there's a shot I'm just
Possible.
going senile, and that could be a problem too. And the microphone might still. So how you been, Josh?
Making it, man. How about
I'm
you?
saying there's a shot I'm just
Possible.
going senile. Physical therapy, got back. Yeah, how you been, Josh?
Making it, man. How
Supposedly
about
in
you?
less pain, but
Possible.
well, physical therapy, got back. Yeah, how you been, Josh?
They say making it, man. How
Supposedly
about
in
you?
less pain, but
Possible.
yeah, no therapy. I'll tell you something. How you been, Josh?
They say making it, man. How about you? Possible.
Yeah, no therapy. I'll tell you something. How you been, Josh?
They say making it, man. How about you?
After that was about 20 years ago, but when I did it and I could walk again, that made a real difference. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went right into it after I injured my spine, went right for the physical therapy. And I got a guy who's really local, you know, basically not quite walking. Maybe if I could walk really well, that might be barely walking distance, about a mile and a half. You know, I'm doing it and, you know, I'm able to sit up, stand, walk, do those kind of little things, you know. How's your leg treating you?
It's getting stronger.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Yeah. Starting to get my legs back underneath me.
Testing.
Takes a while. Takes a long time. You know, that's the thing. So how's the fish?
They growing.
Can you hear me?
That's always good.
Yep, I've got one tank I've got to pull some guppy grass out of. That stuff is so thick the pistos can barely swim through it, it looks like.
Yeah, no, I've got a lot of plants I got to pull out. You know, like I said, I've been in my back for a few months. I haven't actually assessed the damages yet. I'm just feeding things and hoping there's still fish in there. That's where I'm at right now. You know, I got to catch up on water changes and see what I've got going. You know.
Can you hear me?
No.
It's still down here by the fish.
What?
No audio.
No.
No sound.
Honest to God.
Nothing.
Yeah, I've been catching up on water changes and whatnot myself.
Yeah, I gotta get around to that. And
Shit. Well, I screwed up. I went off and I lost Josh and RJ. I'm hoping they're going to come back. Realize that they're gone and come back up. What is that? I don't even know where I am. Genetic regimes depart accusingly. I don't know what that is. Huh. Well, crap.
There we go.
Huh.
There he is. I became admin when Father Fish dropped out.
You became an admin? I was wondering.
I fixed it. I had the other volume on. I fixed it.
Oh, okay.
Father Fish, say something.
Testing. Nothing, huh?
Josh, can you hear him?
Huh.
No, but I could hear him whenever it was just him on this stream.
Well, I've got my crap. It's my microphone. Cam mute settings. Camera audio. Testing. That mic's working. But this one is not. And it said it is.
Nope,
Yeah, I don't know
we
what
can't
to
hear
do.
Unmute.
The universal signal for I can't hear you. Dead air.
Right. All right. I'm going to go.
Josh, are you saying something or are you breaking up too now?
No, Father Fish is, his audio is working on the stream. We just can't hear him.
Right.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear it.
It says my microphone is working.
see anything.
There he is.
Can you hear me now?
Nope, still no sound.
Damn. It says
No,
it's
sir.
Like I
working.
said, that if you can hear us, Father Fish, your audio works on YouTube. I don't know why we're not getting it in the.
I know it's working.
Here it is.
Was that it?
That's it. Whatever you did,
I
don't
pulled-
touch it.
I pulled the mic out. Huh.
You pulled the mic out. Well, that's because that's fine.
Well, good. Yeah, it was
You
just
know, I
going
mean-
dead. It would not stay live.
Well, that's
another piece of $35 piece of equipment that lasted one use.
well, yeah. In there, well, you know something. One of the things you learn when I used to have a company that built computers, and many years ago when computers were different and simpler. But you would be shocked how many things you would get would die of infant mortality. You get memory chips, you plug them in, and within half an hour they were toast, microphones, CD drives, DVD, you name it. The stuff had a lifespan of 2 hours because in reality nobody tests the stuff when they ship it. If it fails, they just give you a new one.
Right.
It's a lot cheaper than testing 10,000 microphones to replace the 30 that don't work.
Yeah, I guess. That makes sense.
We used to have burn-in software. We'd set up a computer and we'd put it in the burn-in for a week, depending on the commercial. If it's commercial application, sometimes longer. And it would just sit there running the cycle, looking for errors. And you'd be surprised that, you had a significant number of machines that would fail during that week. Or if it was like a home computer, 24 hours, 48 hours. But you always burnt in a computer when you built it because so many parts to fail.
Okay, anybody, I posted the link for this platform. We got Lee Wilcox is in here. So's Big Tank Hank. Love to hear from both of them. If either of you guys want to come up, be delighted to have you.
You promised us beautiful women tonight. What happened?
Well, I'm holding my breath.
Always. Those beautiful women, they're never that predictable. Always. Those beautiful women, they're never that predictable. Was that feedback?
Yeah, it was me. I was opening my YouTube channel. I wanted to see. There was somebody in there I wasn't familiar with. And I don't know where they came from.
Hello, stranger.
Huh. Don't know. We've got quite a gang in there. That was Salient Aquatics. It's a 35 Salient. He's not in Father Fish's channel. He might be in Mary's. I don't know where he's in from. I did post the link. I'll keep posting it here because if you're not in the Father Fish channel, then it's not being tagged. It just scrolls up. But anybody else who would like to come up, just click on that and it'll bring you over. Anyway, we were talking about old timers
Oh,
going
yeah.
to meetings and all the stuff we used to do. And you mentioned going to municipal sewerage systems to collect worms. Right,
Yep, tube
right at
effects.
tube effects worms. Yeah, black worms too, I guess, but tubifex back then. They were at the effluent, right at
Right.
they were jamming up the pipes. I read an article once by some guy who was down in a sewer, and there was this huge bulbous organic mass that was attached to the wall of the pipe, working back into a crack, I guess. And he couldn't
Mhm.
figure out what in the world it was. So he took some of it. It kind of came apart. Turns out it was tubifex worms.
Yeah,
Huge mass of tubifex worms.
that's the one. I've never collected them that way. I've gotten a few sometimes with like, soil samples I pulled out of rivers or whatever where they come up, but I have never seen the masses. But I was talking to guys, the old timers, they tell you they could get a bucket full, 5-gallon bucket, just scoop
Yeah,
it up and throw it in a bucket and bring it
yeah.
home.
Another place they used to collect them was the drainage ditches from cow barns,
Yep.
milking barns.
They're an effluent worm. They come from places where there's a lot of effluent.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
they're filter feeders. If you ever raise tubies, I did it by accident. I put some tubies in a tank with baby black arowana, and the arowana wasn't going to go to the bottom and eat them. They just floated on top, and they just literally turned into, it looked like waving grass. It was like the whole bottom of the aquarium just turned into a carpet of wiggling grass. It was really kind of cool. Of course, I threw
Yeah,
some other
they're a nematode,
right.
whereas the blackworm is actually a segmented worm.
That's correct. They're
So
segmented.
they're totally different animals.
Yeah, the blackworm is not a filter feeder. It actually looks for food and
Right.
eat
Yeah,
detritus. It's the detritus filter feeder. But the tubifex, the filter feeder, it actually waves there in the water like a sea fin. It looks, it's like a sea fin. It just waves, and you'll see like a little carpet of it develop if you have no fish to eat them.
right, exactly.
Obviously, you throw one guppy in, they're all gone. I mean, within minutes, you'll never see another worm.
Well, people who
which
were doing back when we were starting up the resurrection jars, and people were collecting mud from creeks and ponds, they would always see the worms, and that's what they were. They were nematodes. They were not blackworms.
Mostly, yeah. That's what I got too. I collected some clay. It was a clay thing. I just wanted to see what would come out of it. And they just came. They were longer than you would think too. They actually have a lot of their body underground, but they were up filter feeding.
Yeah,
really interesting.
That's what we used to buy back when I was a kid. And
We had tubies.
Yeah.
And then people started asking, where do these come from? And that was not the right question to ask. They come from sewage treatments.
Yeah, exactly.
These worms come from sewage. They eat sewage.
Places. Well, another thing they did was they would have trawlers digging up the bottom of ponds and washing it out, and these worms would congeal in a mass. So they were collecting them from the muck in ponds.
Well, the other thing all of the old timers did, was they had Daphnia ponds.
That's right.
And you still run across some of them. Yep. And if you live anywhere near one of these old, you'll know where every Daphnia pond was around your house 40 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, they're probably not good anymore. By now, either fish died, either something got in it. But in all reality, these guys will tell you, oh, yeah, I know where your house is. It's about 3 blocks. Go into the woods and slog through some mud, and there'll be a Daphnia pond. And they really knew there were Daphnia ponds. That was a big thing.
Henry Hall. Henry Hall told a wonderful story. He had a Daphnia pond, and he was an engineer, one of the early engineers, He retired. He retired in the 60s. So he worked through the First and Second World War, or Second World War, anyway, were his employment years. He was called a stationary engineer. He ran the plant at the old Mercy Hospital in Baltimore, and he was a great fish collector. When I saw his collection, he had a Climax collection. He was 82 years old, and this was his last collection. He had 40 tanks, none of which were under 100 gallons.
Wow.
Every tank had one fish in it that was 2 to 3 foot long. He had a 5-foot electric eel. He had all kinds of catfish, just everything imaginable. He even had a caiman. He had a 4-foot caiman.
Oh, I remember those. They went the way of the dodo bird as far as the hobby goes.
Yeah, we used to get them. I used to get them when I was a young man. They were still, you could still buy them. Yeah, they were around up into the 80s.
You see them at Woolworth every now and then.
You know, little tiny ones, and of course they become a very big, monstrous animal.
Yes, they do, and you know they have personalities. I remember a local pet store got the last 2 of them, and one sold and was never back again, and the other one kept turning up. It just was like a bad penny. The store couldn't get rid of it.
Yeah,
it was gone for a week, and then
it got bigger. Right.
Yeah, you know, I remember walking in and it was offered to me for $10, and I said I'll take it at 5 because I'm really that stupid. And
how big was it?
Just never had a caiman, but I wasn't going to pay any real money for it, to be honest. You know, because I didn't think I was going to be that much more successful than anybody else had been. So you know, yeah, I'll take it. You know, just to say I've done it, and keep it a few weeks, and maybe if you know, who knows? Maybe keep it forever. Who knows? But I wasn't going to invest money in an animal that I realized was, you know, already been returned to the pet shop 5 times. You know, odds are going against that being a good pet.
Not a good pet.
Not a good pet. No, there's just, you know, some things that don't work out that well.
And let me tell you the Daphnia story. Henry had a Daphnia pond, and it was his secret stash. Now, you were talking about back when people used to get together all the time. And there was a club that he was active in. This was in Baltimore. We lost RJ. Can you hear me, Josh?
Yes.
Okay. He was in, they were in Baltimore. They had a club. And he would not tell the club members where his Daphnia pond was. Well, it was worse than that. He had invented a wind-powered sailboat that it went round in circles, and he had a net dragging on the back of it that collected Daphnia. So he would put this model sailboat in the pond with the net in the back and leave it out there for an hour or 2, and the wind would blow it in circles. And as soon as it got up close to shore, he would harvest it. Well, there was one guy who was just beside himself, just as angry as he could be, that Henry would not tell him where this Daphnia pond was. He was getting Moena, which is a medium-sized Daphnia. It's not a real big one.
No, it's a little one.
It's an ideal size for tropical fish. So the guy snuck out one day, followed him. He didn't know about it. He went back to his pond later, a month or two later, and the Daphnia were gone. And he couldn't figure out why. He had been collecting in that little pond for years. And he looked and looked, and he saw a goldfish.
Oh, that's not even. I won't even go there.
The
That's
guy-
just rude.
The guy had turned he was so angry. He had put a goldfish, probably more than one, in the pond, which of course ate up all the Daphnia.
You know, the environmental people down the road from me put some ponds in. And they were brand new ponds. And I was so excited. It's like, I know what I'm doing with those ponds. I'm going to throw some Daphne in from my backyard ponds.
Right.
And I went out there and I figured I'd study them before I did anything. And all of a sudden, I see on the bottom these little crabs scurrying around.
Oh, really?
And I just looked at it and I realized they were brackish water and the crabs had already infested them.
Oh, no kidding.
And I sat there and I'm like thinking about this. I was contemplating introducing some brine shrimp. That was my next thought.
They
But
wouldn't
then
have survived either.
I don't know. Yeah, with the crabs, I think they'd
Well,
probably.
it wasn't salty enough if it was brackish. Hard to say. I mean,
Yeah,
they might, I guess.
I mean, crabs can survive. These are blue claws. So they actually
They
can
survive
survive
in fresh water.
brackish.
Yeah.
I don't know about fresh for very long, but when I saw the crabs on the bottom, baby crabs, they were apparently going in there and spawning.
Wow.
I suddenly realized, yeah, this isn't going to work for Daphne. That was
Yeah,
it.
right. Huh.
But it was a nice thought. I mean, they built this beautiful pond with nothing in it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the way to go. I checked, no fish.
I thought
You
you
know,
were going to say it had gambusi in it.
Oh
Ah,
no, there was nothing in it. It was brand new, and I'm just looking at it, going, oh, this is as good as it gets. I'm going to have a giant Daphne
right,
pond.
right.
Time to get a pool skimmer and go for it. And next thing I see these crabs scurrying around.
That's
I'm like,
funny.
okay, well, it was a nice thought while it lasted.
Yeah, really.
But the thing about Daphne ponds is, you want a pond that freezes solid in the winter. Okay, fish cannot survive if the pond freezes solid. So what you're looking
but the
for is you're looking
Daphnia
for
will, that's right.
Daphne. They lay their eggs, they float the little black specks, and they'll float on the water a lot like brine shrimp. They're very similar to brine shrimp. And what they'll do is they'll lay their eggs, and as soon as spring comes, your pond will fill with Daphne again. But if the fish can survive the winter, fish will colonize it one way or the other. A duck will land in it, lay its eggs. Eventually, as soon as fish get in it, Daphne are toast. At
Right.
least collectively.
Right.
So,
Bass Queen is saying, tomorrow is my birthday, and I scored the elusive albino bristlenose female and a new granddaughter. Notice she put the bristlenose in front of the granddaughter.
I had albino bristlenose. They were a thing a few years ago.
I got some right here in my tank.
Yeah, they were a thing. Everybody,
I got it.
everybody,
There's one right there.
yeah, everybody was breeding them a few years back.
I know.
Everybody.
I know. Yeah. Now they're trying to breed stuff that's $50 a pop.
Well, they always are. The problem with breeding fish for a hobby is that you don't. It costs you a lot of money with heaters, food, and everything. So you can't breed 50-cent fish and expect to actually get meat. So,
right.
But bristlenose are easy to breed. They're prolific and abundant.
I need a male. I need to get a male. I think I had 2 females. I'm down to 1. I've been waiting for an order of fish God, for 3 months, I've ordered fish from 2 different wholesalers, friends, and I'm apparently on the bottom of their list. I don't know, because there ain't nothing coming.
Yeah, no, it's the bristlenose. You can breed them with any bristlenose as long as you got a male in the feet. Not any,
Right,
but most
right.
of them are nothing but morphs on.
Well, there's a red one out now. Somebody's
Yeah, I've
got
seen
a
that.
red morph. Yeah.
Friend of mine had a tank full of them and asked me if I wanted them, but they're better for bigger tanks, and they're, you know, they need, you know, you got to
Yeah,
set
they're
up
not
for
much
them.
good in a 5-gallon.
No, even 10 gallons, probably you wouldn't really want to do them in much less than a 10, and then you really can't do much else with them in a 10-gallon tank
Right.
because they're just that prolific. The tank's going to be full of babies in no time.
Chicken of the Sea is here. Danang,
I've-
Corey Miller.
I've got Lee Wilcox wants to join. Are we admitting
Oh,
Lee
good.
Wilcox?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Lee Wilcox is with us.
Wonderful. Hi there.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, Lou.
Okay.
Lou,
Lee.
it's so good to see you. It's really cold.
Are you cold there?
Yeah, we're really cold.
Oh my.
We don't
Lee
put
is
the
in
heat on.
Portsmouth, England.
The
the
bills
south
are
of
really
England.
effective at the moment.
Lee, can you
Also
turn
got
on your camera?
gloves because it's really cold. Oh no, that's a thermal sock. I'm wearing slippers. I'm wearing slippers to keep my feet warm. Oh, it's my other glove. Here we go. Let's put that on. Alright. I'm really nice and toasty now.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Do you have a mask? You should be wearing a mask. So a black
See?
mask. So
say hello.
Hello.
Say hello, see.
Hello.
Hi there. Is that
Hello.
Mary? Hello, Mary.
Sue.
Sue, I'm sorry. I said
It's
Mary.
been a long
that's weird.
time.
I
It's
got
been
Mary
a
on the
long
brain.
time.
Mary is supposed to be coming up tonight at some point.
Oh, we love Mary. We do love Mary. Why am I here? See?
Oh,
You made me do it.
I'm going to
Hi, Sue.
She's
Nice.
coming over to say
There she is. How are you, dear? Nice to
We're
see you.
freezing
You're
in
freezing.
England
My goodness. You got no
because of the
heat.
fuel prices.
You got no heat in your flat.
And look, we've got cardigans, jumpers. We're really warm, and we're doing lots of cuddling to keep warm because of the fuel prices, because of the war in Ukraine, of course.
Shush, shush. We're not allowed to speak about that.
No,
We're not allowed to speak about that.
That's
We're
all right.
okay.
We speak about it all the time.
It's absolutely lovely to see you, sir.
Yeah,
How
you
you
need
doing?
you need to get on our Discord channel, Lee. We have an open channel where we talk about all the secret stuff, like
Oh, okay.
shots and wars and bad presidents and heat and all this stuff.
Oh, that sounds good.
Lou,
You can actually keep yourself warm by talking about heat.
yeah. Lou,
That's cool.
Yes, yes.
I'm not a rude boy anymore.
No,
I'm not a rude boy anymore.
really.
No, I'm not. Those days are gone.
My, are you still a creative boy?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Wonderful.
You should see what I've been up to recently. But it's all Yeah.
Well, I've been following your cat videos.
Have you?
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
yeah,
Why don't you leave any messages?
I do
Oh, okay.
occasionally.
Oh, have you seen
Harry,
Harry?
Yes.
our stray that we've taken
Oh, I
in.
wanted to ask you how the pond is doing out back.
One is doing great. We've got frogs, newts,
Oh, really?
snail.
You have
Yeah.
newts?
No.
Really?
Where did the
Wow.
frogs come from?
Where do frogs come from?
We live
Tadpoles.
in the most
Good
built up
question. Ask
terrace
our-
street you possibly have in England, and the frogs just arrived. We've got a railway line behind the
I
garden,
know you do, yeah.
small garden, and we put the pond in, and the frogs just come. Where do they come from?
From the railroad, probably.
Out of the ground.
They're hobo frogs.
If you,
Sound like wolves.
Hey, listen,
Like wolves.
where from?
They're hobo frogs. They-
Hey, mate.
if you build it, they will come.
If you,
Sorry.
right.
Absolutely, that's what my dad said.
What?
If you put into a pond,
Yeah,
frogs will come.
yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Every puddle of water I got around the house has got a frog in it until it gets cold.
What did he say? Oh, we're down there. Oh, what is that? We're down there, boy.
Yep.
And then, what is that? What's that? That? And then he went, up.
That's
See, it's
America.
back. It's back. He's lying. See? It's still
I'm
there.
lying. I'm lying. I'm lying. I'm being a good boy. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's falling foul of the same. Oh, silly old nonsense. I don't mean any harm.
You
If
never have. You've
If I
never
was-
meant any harm.
if I was poking fun at someone and I didn't love them, that would make me a bully.
That's
Oh,
true.
So I only poke fun at people that I like. So the guy with the big beard, there's two of them. I'm talking about the old geezer. The
Yeah,
old
yeah.
geezer with the old bag on. Yeah. I wouldn't poke fun at you if I didn't like you. But I'm going to have to try and translate it.
Good luck with that.
You know,
Shut
boy.
up, man.
I'll be taking you out. No, I'll be taking you out for a drink down there and all that, boy.
Could we join your club? Because we are old timers too.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are we old enough?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
in the end, he's far too young. How old are you?
I don't get a picture feed. Or Lee, do you have your camera on? For some reason, I'm not getting a picture feed on you.
I am.
Does everyone else? Okay, so it's just me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, then it's just me. That makes sense. Let me kill something else on my computer. See
Oh,
if that
what
helps.
you got?
He's got
You
an
look
apple.
you look very cute, Sue. In
You
your
don't use an apple, would be all
in
right.
your white cardigan
Oh well.
with the hood.
Oh, geezer with the glasses and the cap.
Oh, right. John's up there. Right.
Is that John? Hello,
Hello, John.
John. Hello.
Hello.
I like the beard.
Yep.
I've got beard envy today.
Yeah.
There's three of you old cobblers and no, two old cobblers and
And a young.
a youngster, and I've got
yeah.
beard envy.
Yeah, but you need to grow yours again.
Beard envy.
Yeah, you need to grow it again.
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
I think
I agree.
Right.
Lou, we popped up to say hello, mate. It's been a long time.
It's
We
been
do love
it
you.
has.
We say you all the time.
It has.
And when Sue brought up Harry, you know, that stray that we've taken in,
Right.
Tom.
How well, you know, Tom died You knew
I
that.
know, we know, mate, we know.
Yeah. That was
And it just
2
just
years
reminds
ago
me.
now. Yeah. He was a friend for about 15 years. Almost 15 years.
Harry's 15 years old.
Is he
And we
really?
got a year ago.
My.
He's chipped. We've taken him to the vet.
Huh.
I mean, we really are spending some
So you
time
really
out
know, you really do
on him.
know how old he is then. Huh.
He's 15 years old, and the family that owned him are not contactable via the chip that he has in him. So we've gone through, and it's cost us,
Yeah.
but we've adopted him. We've paid money. We've adopted him. He's in our name. We've got a monthly subscription to a cat clinic
That's
so
funny.
that we can look after him, and you know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There's,
Well,
there's
Sue,
all of this.
Sue,
I love
how are
this,
you? How are you enjoying retirement?
It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. I had some terrible trouble during lockdown, as you know, and
Well,
Sue.
how is Sue doing with
oh,
retirement?
I'm fine. I'm still doing 4 days a week at the hospital, which is fine. Which is
That's
good.
not retired.
No, because
Retired and returned.
yeah.
She can't give up, Lou. It's her vacation.
Yeah, I
She
hear you.
she's retired, but she can't give up the work, mate. She can't.
Right.
Yeah, hospitals are really suffering. They need nurses at the moment in this country. So you just keep going at the moment.
Lee, you said you had to take your tank down.
Don't do that.
I did. It's gone.
Oh
Hold on.
dear.
We've got a record player there instead.
Oh dear.
I know, but all the fish and all the frogs and all the snails, the light's not on. It's dark. It's in the 50-gallon. Did you set up for me? You set that tank up for me, and not only did you set it up for me in a last property, you told me how to take it down, get it here. I can't put the lights on while I'm holding this, missus. And it's still immaculate.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you
Sue's
do
telling
still
me
have
to
a
put-
tank.
She's telling me to put the lights on. I'll go and put the lights on.
Okay.
Oh,
What a shame.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
not
two
got
tanks.
that.
Right.
What a shame.
I've got to take my gloves off.
All right, brother bitch, I gotta run. It was good swinging by.
Thank you, Josh. Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you coming in.
Talk to you later, Cash.
We'll catch y'all next time.
Nice to
All
meet you,
right.
John.
Take
Nice to meet
care.
you, John.
For sure.
Flop.
Right. Got to put the lights on, which means I've got to use the app. Hold on. It's coming. It's coming. Oh.
Oh my.
Oh, wait. There's more. There we go. Right. Oh.
Hmm.
No, you wouldn't.
No, we got my boring you or what?
Uh-huh.
Go on, Jan.
I want
That's
to
as
see
close
it.
as
I want to
that's as
see it.
close as I can get. I can't get any closer than that because the cable's not long enough.
Oh, okay. Well,
You've seen it
looks-
anyway.
Well, that's wonderful.
My video.
You did that.
Yeah,
You did that.
do a video of it.
What?
Do a video of your tank. I didn't
Oh, I will.
realize.
I'm gonna
you-
drop off and come back in because I can't see Lee, so.
Okay. All right.
Oh, sorry, mate.
problem.
Not you, it's him. He's got old cheap equipment.
What I'll do. Oh, you cut me off. Okay.
I can see you, but I'm gone.
Oh, I swore. I just swore. I hope no one heard that.
No, it's gone.
Oh, I said a swear word,
You go now. I can see all of you.
and it began with
Okay.
an F.
We're all back.
We're all back.
Can you see us, Lee?
Yeah?
Good. Okay. Well, I'm glad you still have a tank. I was concerned.
It would never, ever, ever, ever. It's part of my life. And it was part of my life when I was having trouble. And you know all about that.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do. And you helped me through it. Not just with the tank, but with the phone calls and the interactions and
Shame you can't show it. It's beautiful.
shame I can't show it because it's beautiful, Sue says. It's all you, Lou. It's all you. I'll do a video. I hope you can see it, and hope
Yeah,
you'll
do
drop
please. Yeah, I'll look forward to it.
because it's still going strong. It was the one we had when I was in that flat,
Yeah.
and I wasn't in a very good state of mind.
It's the one that
Now
had the
it-
goldfish in it.
I'm now in a house, and I'll spend 18 months refurbishing this house all
Yes.
on my own. And it's coming on really nice, isn't it, darling? Yeah. I'm in a really good frame of mind. I'm in a really good state of place.
Oh, shame you can't show me. Thanks.
It's a shame.
Beautiful.
I'll do a video, darling. I'll make a video, darling. So you can see it. So you can see creation that we're still loving and enjoying.
EJ, is your camera on?
We're doing great. We're doing great. I'll try and do an update video just for you. I hope
Okay.
you get to see it. I'm going to leave now.
All right.
Just enjoy the
happy
rest
you-
of the.
So happy you came up.
Oh, thank you so much. I wasn't sure if
Emily.
I should, but went on a whim, and
Well, join us on Discord, Lee. You will
I'll try.
You will thoroughly enjoy it.
I do find Discord a little bit complicated. I do have it. I'll do my best.
Okay.
I'll
You'll
do my
enjoy
best,
it.
mate. Oh,
It'll-
it's so lovely to see you. Sue.
Thank you, Sue. Nice to see you.
Oh, here we
Love
go.
you.
Shout. Sue.
Hello, Gogan.
Good night,
Bless you,
gorgeous.
dear.
You were-
Good night, gorgeous. Right, I'm unplugging.
All right. Bye, Lee.
See you later. Love you.
Emily.
I can't unplug the thing.
Hello, EJ.
Hey, I
How you
think
doing?
I've got some issues going on with my camera. but
It
we're-
just looks a little foggy or something.
Yeah, it's not the right one. For some reason, it's not. It's a new app, so it's not transferring over. It says it is, but I can tell that it's not. So
I see you fine. You're in soft focus.
Oh,
There
oh,
she
you can't.
is. I don't think I can move people around in this.
Give me a second. I'm gonna try to. Oh, there we go. Okay.
There's more of you in the picture now.
There's more of me? Oh, dear Lord.
There is actually. It's closer. Yeah.
Oh,
You look very,
That's,
you look very
that's
nice.
true.
I just got off work. I'm tired. I'm basically was like, oh, well, let's just get on the computer after 12 hours of being on the computer
Right.
and hang out with people.
Well, we'll try to make it less painless than what you did at work, whatever that was.
Oh, it was painful. Trust me. This is so much better.
Hey, so how are you, EJ?
Tired, but I'm always tired. I'm good. I'm good. It's been a while, so there really isn't too much going on other than kids and fish ongoing, and I guess there's voting tomorrow. I refuse. in my state, we have early voting. I refuse to early vote. I just don't trust it. So I may vote tomorrow, may not. Who knows?
I'm sure there's some bot voting for me tomorrow, so
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
one of
not
those.
registered in Maryland. And
You're not registered?
No, I
Oh.
didn't get registered. I'm registered in Florida, but I'm not
Oh.
living
There you
there
go.
anymore.
Yeah, but you kind of have to show up for that, you know.
No, you can do an absentee ballot.
I could, but I
You could, but not the day of, right? I mean,
It's a little
Probably
late,
not.
right?
yeah, you had to do it ahead of time, and then because they need time to verify, ought to verify that you are who you say you are.
I could probably
It's-
vote in Pennsylvania.
Well,
You
you
don't
know,
have to vote in Pennsylvania. Someone will do it for you.
I was
Exactly.
gonna say,
Whatever call,
we've
right?
had I live in a condo building. We've had a recent death, and I, thought about reaching out to the. I thought about, the dead don't have a voice, so I figured I'll help them along. But my husband and I have already been joking about how many times we can vote, or
Right.
vote for people, and it's just really sad that we're at that place.
What's that old slogan? Vote early, vote often.
Yeah,
Right,
that is an old slogan.
Really? Somebody
They've actually
suggested-
caught that. Like,
Yeah.
there's been. I don't want to get into it. Point is that I don't want people to think that I'm voting until I actually show up the day of. So don't try to, create a ballot to counter ballot my vote. That's all. I'm a little more paranoid now than I used to be. I don't know why. Shocking.
One of the
Well, just-
gals on Discord told me that she thinks I ought to do a live stream tomorrow night and follow the election results.
There's a lot of people doing that though, and it could. How late are you willing to stay up?
I'm not
I mean,
really. I would find it enormously boring to do.
It really would be. You'd have to be well prepared, well set up for that to, essentially, fill in the gaps while people are counting.
Yeah, and then they're not gonna.
yeah.
It's not gonna matter anyway, because they won't have time for the 3 a.m. ballots.
Right. Yeah. That's after the polls close, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when the real voting starts.
Well, actually, so it didn't happen until 2016, but historically they've never stopped counting. They keep going until everything's counted, like they go all night. But 2016, they stopped. 2020, obviously, they stopped, and then, stuff happened. I don't know.
Well, it's debatable whether they stopped, but we won't go into that.
Well, officially, they told the people who are supposed to be overseeing to make sure that it's a,
Go
actual.
home and come back in the morning.
Yeah.
We'll work it out in the meantime.
Yeah, in the meantime, suitcases keep,
Right.
also the truck pulls up with suitcases. Oh, yeah, let's fact check that. It wasn't a truck. No, sorry, it was 2 trucks. Mostly false. That's because we only said 1 truck instead of 2. I love this. I love those fact checkers.
Well, something. Unfortunately, bad things happen to people who talk about this kind of stuff. So
Oh yeah, maybe I should shut up now.
yeah, we are unfortunately living in the United States where there's freedom to agree with the powers that be. So let's.
I love how it's freedom to only agree with the powers that be.
We have freedom. I mean, that's important.
Yes, just as long as it's only a certain way.
Exactly.
Oh.
Look at the term politically correct. Okay, you can be politically correct, or what's the opposite? You're politically incorrect.
I remember when politically incorrect was a lot smaller than politically correct.
You know, and it wasn't all, you know, and bad things didn't happen to you when you were politically incorrect.
Right.
Mhm.
So, you know,
I don't know. Just by saying a few key words, I'm probably now on a list somewhere. On the bright side, my internet is all of a sudden picked up, so that's a good thing.
that's because you're being monitored now.
That's my theory.
There you go.
Yeah, just start saying when your internet's running slow. Just start saying keywords that'll get picked up, and now they have to bolster your internet just to check out your activity. So,
There you
all
go.
right, let's see here. What keywords can we do? Ukraine. I could keep going, but I think I would
Yeah.
really monitored for sure.
Yep. Well, no, actually,
The Hunter
you know,
hard drive.
generically, yes. One of the big things of digital, voice to digital,
Mhm.
voice to text,
Yes.
was that you know, you could now monitor massive amounts of internet or phone activity
Yes.
without having an actual human being there. Only if you say the right buzzwords, it'll kick it out to a human. But
That's-
other than that, you know,
Yeah.
all the innocuous calls get monitored by a computer.
Yeah, and it does. It never goes away. It does go somewhere. It's never really deleted. But yeah, it's the keywords. You use the keywords, then you guarantee your internet will go. Your internet will get faster. So been doing it for
Sure.
years. Taught my work how to do that too, and all of a sudden the internet worked faster at work. Shocking how that happened.
Well, yeah, but you know, I mean, it's computers decode your voice. They have to have a good connection.
Ah, okay.
That's the bottom line.
Uh,
They have to get it very clear. Some
So,
voices they have a lot of
EJ,
trouble.
what are you doing with your fish? What are you going to keep?
What am I going to keep? I'm going to keep at least a pair of my Everglade. I'm going to keep a pair or possibly 2 females and a male of Scarlet Batis. Whether I keep them together or not, that's to be determined. Go away. Well, who is calling me at 7:50? Yeah. Nobody calls me after 7. That's not allowed. Except for family.
You're one of those.
The what?
You're one of those.
I have a
You're one of those people.
Yeah, there's a select few people that can call me after 7 o'clock at night. There's my husband, and then there's my family members, and I count Father Fish as one of them. So, my kids can, you know, I call my kids when they're on the opposite end of the house. You know, when I feel too lazy to get up and tell them to do something.
I basically tell people that if I have the phone turned on,
Mhm.
or if I'm awake, you can call me at 4 o'clock in the morning, because if I'm awake, I'm probably bored by that point.
Oh,
Or
sounds like an
yeah,
insomnia.
because, well, no, there's no phone that rings when I turn the computer off, because that's what I use. So,
Brilliant.
you know, click computer off. That's it. You know,
Really?
the odd story is I you know, for years I didn't have a phone at home. This is before cell phones. I just didn't keep a home phone at all. It was my father. My father said to me, "You know something? I'm going to die one day, and you're not going to know about it." And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. I got to sleep through the whole night, and then his third wife called me at about, you know, I checked the answering machine at the office when I came, and your father passed away last night. I'm like, "Oh, good, I didn't know about that. That would have ruined my evening." Nothing I could do about it anyway. She apparently waited 3 hours before she called the undertaker.
Oh,
So-
okay.
My.
Or would have called me. So, you know, I mean, in all reality, you know, by the time she would have called, it wasn't like I was going to go anywhere other than, you know, to, you know,
Yeah.
the situation that was pretty
No
much.
point in sweating something you couldn't change at that point.
So how
Yeah,
many
kind of-
tanks? How many tanks are you going to keep?
I'm gonna keep probably about 5.
Oh,
By
good.
75. I'm gonna
Okay.
probably trim. Yeah.
So
I'm
you're
gonna
just
keep my
getting
29.
control. That's all.
Yeah. And
All right.
then I'm gonna keep 3 10 gallons for breeding projects, and then I'm gonna keep probably about, I guess if you don't count them as tanks, I'm gonna keep like 3 6-quart containers for Daphnia.
I'm gonna try my hand
A
at
lot of work.
what?
Little containers of Daphnia are a lot of work. They
Actually,
really
they're
are.
not.
Okay,
It's
I've done
about,
them.
it's about surface area. It's not like,
Oh,
yeah. When I say 6 quarts, I mean like shoebox. And for some reason, I can keep them for weeks. I mean, they don't. And I put, I put like hornwort or duckweed in there, and I know you're not supposed to. And I don't even bother with air half the time. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And I just put green water in there, and it lasts forever. What I never do is I never put any of the yeast or the spirulina stuff.
So
It
you're
seems
not
to.
fouling. You're not fouling the water.
I never do it because every single time I've ever put in a small, like even drops, it's never worked out well for me. It just never has. And then I've had to like almost start over. So
Yeah.
what?
as soon as you feed the culture, it goes bust.
No,
It blooms and
it was
busts.
within 24 hours.
Right.
Yeah, it's just never worked out well. But I can feed them copious amounts of green water, keep it under a light 24/7. For some reason, that like a plant light especially, that seems to like encourage green water growth. And I don't have a problem.
And often I have them growing outside. I've got 2 ponds of Daphnia. But
Yeah.
as far as indoors, I've kept them in 2-liter bottles, and they're just about ready to harvest, and then they go bust. I've done a 10-gallon aquarium in the basement. My God, I had it wall-to-wall Daphnia ready to harvest, and you couldn't see through all the Daphnia. And I went upstairs, I got some lunch, came down, net in hand, and they were all laying on the bottom.
Yeah, they go bust pretty quick.
They go bust. I was feeding yeast.
Yeah.
I was
I've
feeding green.
I've saved a 20-gallon culture that went bust, and I just changed out water and siphoned up the bottom pretty close to it. And then I still had a few Daphnia left, and I put in fresh water, and I saved the culture that way. But yeah, I mean, a lot of them died.
Yeah, as long as you have 1 or 2 survive, the rest will all come back. Or even eggs. If you got eggs left, that'll come back too. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things where when you have a big pond, Daphnia are really, really easy. The smaller your container, it's
I agree.
to get. And some people are good at it. There was one guy who used to raise only Albertas. Epheosimian Alberta. It's only every species practically.
Yeah.
And some are basically extinct. He still had them, and he used to have a row of about 100 2-liter bottles along the ceiling.
Yeah, I've seen people with setups like that. Like I said, the trick is I think a big part of it is surface area. So it's, the wider it is as opposed to the depth, they seem to do better in containers like that.
That may be it. Like I said, I know he did the 2-liter thing, and he was good at it, and I have no idea how many hours a day he was working on his culture. But, and what he was doing with it. But 100 of anything is going to take you hours a day to maintain.
Yeah. You know what, RJ? EJ needs to do Achilles. That is her forte, because she's very detail oriented.
Oh, Achilles are a lot of fun if you want to. If you want to get your hands wet. No. If you want to get your hands wet, here's the deal. Okay.
Okay.
If you want to walk away from an aquarium, Achilles are not necessarily for you. But if you don't mind getting your hands wet, and, collecting eggs or picking, or drying eggs, or you don't mind actually playing with the fish, being hands-on. Then Achilles are a hands-on kind of a thing. You actually there's some you can do just with Java Moss and walk away. But for the most part, it's going to be hands-on. It's going to be constantly something you're involved in. And that's what
that would work really well as almost like a singular breeding project. Like I would have absolutely no other major setups. Like when I say I'm keeping a 75, that's kind of my community tank. I'm probably gonna end up putting my pea puffers in there. I've got like 12 of them. And
that's a nice tank for pea puffers, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I I've been successful keeping pea puffers in a community tank, even with Amato shrimp and coolie loaches and golden top minnows and hill stream loaches. I can keep going. Practically mollies. I practically have everything I put in there. Now I've been, careful, but a lot of everything I've analyzed and put in there, they've done well in, because it's a complete ecosystem setup. So they're not picking at their neighbors. Also, it's heavily planted.
Right.
So
Well, the thing is, when you do killies, because a lot of them are pretty short-lived,
yeah,
you're doing the fish generationally.
right. So how long do you think that? I mean, how long is it generationally? Are we talking here?
Well, the shortest is 13 weeks, birth to death.
Are you
That's
serious?
it, done. They're born. They're adults in about 3 to 4 weeks. They're
That's
laying.
a 90-day cycle.
Yeah, and they are dead. That's it. They're old. They pass away. I only know one person who did that particular species, but it's also the species that was used in the resveratrol trials. So that's, it's an amazing little Nothobranchus. But an old killie, there are some that will make 2 years, but after the first year, they're just hanging in there, all the time. So some 3, but overall what you're doing is you're constantly doing the next generation. So you're spinning some off to take to auctions, to give to your friends, to sell at the pet shop. But you're constantly, it's like guppies. Think about guppies. If you're going to raise one guppy and keep a guppy as a pet, that's not going to be long. I mean, let's face it.
No, it's not.
It's not. You're doing guppies, you're going to do generations of guppies. And that's why you do killies. Now, pea puffers, if you had a 75 with nothing but pea puffers and you put some plants and some rocks in where they can lay eggs, you could conceivably breed pea puffers. They're doable in an aquarium.
Well, 2 kind of showed up like a long time ago. I've never
What you're doing is you're doing this natural setup. Because there's going to be food for the babies. There's going to be enough room where the parents don't hunt the babies. There's going to be room for the babies to hide.
You need a rock pile.
Right.
Well, I thought that was for coolie loaches. Rock
Both.
Both.
Both. Oh, okay. Also, industry loaches too, I heard. So.
Pardon me, coolie loaches will probably hunt puffer eggs, and puffers will eat coolie eggs. That's your,
Well, I mean, that's the thing too. Is I had my 75 used to be what I call the my nano tank. It was a huge community tank with a ton of I refused to have any fish that was over 2 inches. Even then, 1.5 inches at the most. I think the largest fish I had in there was rummy noses. So that's where I originally had my Everglade. I had a ton of cherry shrimp, Amano shrimp. Chili rasboras, CBDs, green neon tetras, rummy nose. I already said that. I take that back. I did have a Siamese alligator in there. But anyway, so I empty the tank out and I find a bunch of babies, bunches of babies. Everglade and cherry shrimp. Tons of them.
Well, Everglade, you will always find lots of babies, but you never see them. You never see in a single Everglade in a planted tank, but there's a lot in there.
Oh, no, they were actually getting they're wild caught. I got them from Father Fish. They were actually getting quite bold. I would see them at the front of my tank on the bottom all the time. They really especially liked brine shrimp. They would come out and then I would feed them the brine shrimp, their colors would flash.
They're beautiful when they flash.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, I guess they get a little territorial and they run into another male, and next thing you know, I've got two males circling each other, beautiful, brilliant blue, and then there's a female somewhere there going, I'm getting out of the line of fire.
No, it's a beautiful fish, but I've done them in that little 3-gallon tank behind me. I must have put about 40 in there at one point.
Yeah, you had 40 in a 3-gallon?
Oh yeah, I do that a lot. I've got a 5.5 with 40 fish in it. I've got a 10 with 40 fish. I've got 20 and a 2.5. I do that a lot. I overcrowd. I just breed fish and they just overcrowd.
Yeah.
So that's
normal. Something right.
That's normal for me. Just don't have the big tanks right now to move a lot of fish that I'd like to move into. But the bottom line is that I remember looking in that tank, and if I saw one, that was great. And when I pulled up the Java moss, there's just little sunfish scurrying all over the place.
Oh yeah, no, the babies were definitely scurrying all over the place. But what I found was beautiful was the males were bolder. There was even one prominent female that would hang out on the front.
I think the 75, that the size of that tank helped you. Plus, you had ditherfish.
I had ditherfish and I had small fish, and they were all bold. People would tell me, "Oh, the CPDs, celestial pearl danio CPDs, they're always so shy, you'll never see them." And those things were actually those things were aggressive with each other, and sometimes, well, mostly with each other. But I mean, they were definitely not shy. Absolutely.
Well, one of the things people do, and this is a sad tragedy for people following along, a lot of people are going to make this mistake. They get a big tank like a 75, and they don't see it as an ecosystem. They look at it as a place to put a big Oscar. And
That's right.
that's the bottom line. Basically you started out with a goldfish in a bowl, which was basically glass, nose to tail to glass. And then you've got a bigger aquarium, and now you've got, another big fish in there that's, glass to glass, nose to tail. And then you get that 75, and that, you've got an arowana in there, which is going to outgrow it. And you're still, same thing, too little tank for too much fish. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is that small fish are often just as smart and just as interesting as big ones.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of small fish, especially a small, colorful fish in a beautiful ecosystem, you're watching an aquatic garden. I mean, there's a reason why. I mean, I don't think a single fish in a bare bottom tank is all that pretty.
No, and you're learning nothing from it.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe because I'm not a guy, because I think monster fish is very popular. Though I know Bass Queen and Oscar Gal, and I know there's people like girls who like that stuff too. But I like water gardening, and water gardening means it's really mostly about the plants and the colors within the plants and the ecosystem. And,
I very much prefer to see an interesting natural aquarium than just a bunch of parrotfish. Like you go to a hospital or something, it's a big tank with 24 parrotfish swimming around, and they're just circling in an empty tank, and there's nothing there.
The hospital also pays somebody to maintain it, so they're gonna and there rarely do you ever see real plants in there.
You'll never see real plants in the hospital tank. I've never seen it. I did actually see parrotfish breeding in a hospital once.
Oh wow!
It was funny. I called the nurses. I said to the nurses, I said, "Look, you got to, the female's protecting the nest." And she came over. Oh my God! And all the staff was looking at the eggs. But I'm sure the people who clean that tank are going to, suck that nest out. So the fish
they're not there to be careful. They're just there to do a job.
And the mother is going to be defending the babies, and that's going to make have everybody tearing everybody else apart. So those are never going to hatch. But that's not what you want. If what you want is a fish in a glass box, for the sake, you can get a screensaver that'll do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
There are some beautiful screensavers out there, folks. If you want a big fish in a glass box, you can do a good screensaver. But if you want something interesting, you do it like the 75 with a real interesting community, a lot of plants. Or in my case, I breed fish, so I get to, harvest
I like the 10-gallon, tiny ecosystems. I've discovered that scarlet batis do really well, and they're very interesting. I paired scarlet batis with blue dream shrimp, and they did really, really well together. Got babies from both. Actually, honestly, with all the tiny fish, I really like having the different stages of the ecosystem. So you go from the micro to the macro to, and then so on and so forth. Meaning the top of the food chain is usually a fish that's about an inch and a half to 2 inches at the most. It might expand to who knows? I might expand to 2 inches now. Goodness, especially if we're talking chilies.
Really?
I'll tell you, ancistrus for the Kili people. Ancistrus is something a lot of Kili people do because, there's nothing living on the bottom of the aquarium. There's nothing cleaning the aquarium. So if you've got a rearing tank, you get a 20 long or whatever to rear up a bunch of fish, you got nothing on the bottom. And killies don't eat ancistrus, and ancistrus don't eat killies. And so, you know, as long as it's not where you're raising, you know, where you know, they're not in with your killie eggs. 'Cause they might be dead. But as soon as there's no eggs, you basically can do ancistrus in the bottom of any of your killie tanks. Or same thing with the Cory catfish. A lot of killie people will do the Corys on the bottom.
Yeah.
You know, it was Rosario was
sense.
big on Corys. Yeah, Rosario was big on Corys on the bottom of half of his tanks, which
Yeah.
was, in his opinion, wasted space that he could turn into a profit, especially like he was doing the green laser.
Yeah, see, RJ, you're thinking on profit. I'm thinking I enjoy the environment. I enjoy the piece of art, and what comes out of it is just gravy.
Well, profit is, you know, that's no, okay. I don't think, and I'm going to be very clear if anybody thinks that I'm going to tell you you're going to make money breeding fish in America.
You won't.
No.
You do
Okay, let's start out. You're not. I'm looking at you guys out there who are watching it. I'm looking straight into the camera. Read my lips. You will not make money breeding fish.
Really.
Okay, you just won't.
That's
You will-
You can try to recoup some of the costs, and that's about the extent.
That you can do. Yep, yeah. I feed my fish oatmeal. Basically, that's all they pretty much eat. So basically, I get my food costs and maybe get electric back when I sell some fish. That's about it. I raise my own live foods off of oatmeal, so oatmeal's cheap. So yeah, I can break even. Okay, but and maybe a little better. You know, I used to, you know, once a month I'd take my family out for meals with the profits. You know, but if I was going to live on
Pay the electric bill later.
oh yeah, you got it. If I'm going to pay rent or pay mortgage or pay taxes, no. Well, again, Rosario did it, very high-end fish. I know about 2 people that did it, but they were retired and they have a pension from their job. They have Social Security as an income.
Right.
Is it me or is it
No,
RJ?
it's RJ.
Or RJ?
Yeah. Only Oscar is saying, what should I do when my water out of the tap has nitrates and ammonia levels that are already high? You need a deep substrate with a heavily planted that will control the
might be
ammonia
me.
and it will reduce the nitrates.
I would also recommend putting pothos or like a houseplant roots in there. That really eats up ammonia and nitrates. So that, because I mean, I don't know if oscars or cichlids will eat those roots, but you know, when I'm trying to set up
Probably not. But no. Well, you know something, pothos, the catch-22 with pothos is that if you have the tank close enough to a window, 9 times out of 10, you have all kinds of algae problems. And the pothos will grow great, but the tank is going to have all kinds of problems. On the other, because temperature fluctuations from the glass. Now, if you're going to start adding drop lights to light your pothos, you're starting to shoot yourself in the foot because now you're adding more complexity and more electric bill to your project. And I've seen that.
why would I need to add sunlight to my pothos? They do well in dim light.
If you really want them to eat a lot of nitrates, you want them growing fast.
I suppose that's true. No, you're right on that. The place where I live though.
If they're just sitting there getting dusted once a month and don't really grow much, you're not eating a lot of nitrates. But if your pothos are putting a foot a week on, then yeah, they're doing a number in your tank. So.
Oh yeah, they're not. You know what? That does make sense actually. That does make sense.
I mean, the nitrates go into the cellular material for the plant, so
Yeah.
it's only a growing plant that makes the difference.
Very true.
You know, same thing like people put Amazon swords in and they think, oh wow, this plant's gonna eat a lot of nitrates. No, it's not. It's growing very slowly. It's not eating a lot of anything.
Right.
But if you put it in certain up plants,
So you have to have high light then.
right, you need lights. So, you know, I did pothos and I had a tank next to a window and it was right, you know, next to it in the kitchen. So I ran the pothos off the tank up around the kitchen window. And that worked pretty good because there's a lot of light for the pothos. But
Yeah, and you can still keep the tank far enough away.
and it was next to the window, so it was not tragically bad. But I've seen people actually put the pothos in, and the next thing you know, they've got plant lights over their aquarium
Uh-huh.
to light the pothos, and now the complexity is getting deeper and steeper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like putting the pathos in, not necessarily because, like, I like putting it in for, like, just to, as I'm kickstarting the, all the other plants I put in there. Does that make sense? New system, trying to, like, eat, it's a new system, have a lot of things to settle. It's a new ecosystem, trying to get it to settle. So I throw some things in there that help eat up a lot of the nitrates and the ammonia while its system kind of balances a bit. Does that make sense?
It does. Duckweed will do it better, but none of us like duckweed, so
No,
let's
none
not
of us like duckweed.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Frog Bit does too. Does a great job as well. So I mean, I'm not entirely. I can use that. I can use both, but
Pothos is nice if you've got a window to grow it into. Then both the fish tank and the pothos will do that.
well, I mean, I found that when I'm trying to get the plants in the aquarium to grow, I have a light there. Obviously, it's a light on a timer or 24/7, depending on whether I want the system to balance or not. But then I add pothos. Maybe it's just in my head. Maybe I just think in my head that, oh, well, for short term, I'm going to add pothos. Maybe it has its own little lighting system. Maybe it doesn't. But I'm just going to, help until the other plants kind of establish itself. It's just going to, hang out in there. And then I take it out and put it somewhere else.
I'll say this. There's a really nice pothos, like a golden pothos. It's got
Yeah, I've had that.
and green.
Mhm.
I've seen it. I've never had it, and I just like that plant. I would just grow that plant because, well, why not? I've got an aquarium near a window, and I can grow that plant. But I'm not fond of the regular green. I'm not against it or anything. Just the regular green pothos, green ones. So there are pothos plants I would want to grow as a pothos plant, regardless of the fish. Just
Yeah.
to have that plant. And if that's where you're at, then something you don't have to make excuses for it. Stuff a pothos plant in and enjoy it. I mean, why not?
It actually does look pretty good. I'm looking at one from here, and it looks pretty good on top of my aquarium. So
It does. It's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't need to, but when I get people will go, I'm going to do this for nitrate. I really,
yeah, you're probably right. No, not probably right. You are right. It's all in my head. I tend, like Father Fish says, I tend to get like over careful. So I like try to do everything or try to anticipate everything. And for the most part, it usually helps me, but there's always a learning curve, or sometimes I overdo
you're a
it.
mom, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and remember the first kid, the first diapers you bought were those really expensive, stupid ones that you learned 2 months later were costing you a fortune and doing
There's
nothing.
so much of that. You have no idea, including food too, by the way.
Right, I mean, you're gonna go out.
Well, I mean, and also actually, I think about it, fish as well, because like when I first got started in the hobby, I mean, people at PetSmart and Petco told me I needed this. I've got probably over $200 worth of expired medicines right now that I will never use.
Fully, but yeah, no, I mean, the bottom line is, there's, that you're a consumer, you're a target when you walk into a store.
Oh, absolutely. Especially my demographic. Let's see here. White college educated women between 25 to 45. That is like a key demographic. They spend a lot of money.
Yep, I'm not a key demographic anymore, but yes, as you can tell by the 1960s aquarium behind me that are being lit by a fluorescent light fixture from the
Yeah,
sun.
man, LEDs have saved my electric bill, like completely saved my electric bill. Everything, like I didn't even do because I have LEDs, it's not even a blip on my electricity radar. I can't believe it. I'm so grateful.
It's hard to upgrade when you've got your equipment since forever. It's still,
Okay.
I still have a stack of bulbs. Let's put it that way. I get, when the pet store went out of business, I put up a bunch of bulbs. So as long as there's bulbs in the inventory, we're probably going to keep the fluorescence going. And as the bulbs and the fluorescent fixtures get about the same price, I think I'll probably switch over.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, they
But-
Well, LEDs
are.
are cheap now.
They are.
LEDs are very cheap.
Look at that.
they're getting it.
4 foot LED, 600 watt, $8.
You mean 600 lumens?
600.
Yeah, 600 lumens, the
600
daytime
lumens,
bulb.
Yeah, 40 watt. It's a 40
Yeah.
Well, how
watt.
many watts?
40.
One of the things that 40, so then there's no savings. 40 watts is what a incandescent bulb would give you. Not as bright, but
Well,
you get the same. There's
It's
not a savings.
brighter. It's actually brighter.
It's a
Plus,
lot
it
brighter,
lasts longer. And like like EJ said, there's no cost to
So,
running it.
you know, the what I can get, my 75, which is like what, 4 foot long. It
4
puts
foot.
out, yeah, an LED light puts out for that size. I'm trying to remember what I bought it at. I don't want to be a liar out of me, but, give me a second because, well, okay, so 18 watts for my 29 gallon, 18 watts.
Yeah.
But it's an LED light, so plant lights, so not plant light, aquarium
That's
light.
what for a 20, you said 29 gallon?
Yeah, 29 gallon.
That's
Okay.
going to run you about 24 watts fluorescent. That's a 2 foot bulb, 24-inch bulb. So that's about 24
Well, that's
watts.
right.
Yeah, I got, that one's on there for 18.
And you get more light.
Yeah, 26 on my 75.
You get more light
Yeah,
than you do.
you're gonna,
But yeah, because the light beam pierces. It's a straight beam. It doesn't diffuse.
the nice thing about the LEDs is they're cooler and they're brighter. They're not much cheaper, but they're cooler and they're brighter.
They're
The
cool.
bad thing is when those bulbs kick out, you just can't replace the bulb. That's
No,
the
you
real-
have to buy a whole new system, but that's, you know,
They're better
it's
and
in-
better, though.
Yeah, they're better and better.
They're
And
getting
it's in the company's best interest or a company's best interest that if it conks out in like less than a year or a couple of years, especially within this community, you're going to find out real quick which brands to go on, which brands not to.
Still, the brands with names haven't gotten that inexpensive. I know what Father Fish has got. There's probably a no frills brand. There's where'd you get Home Depot?
Home Depot?
or Amazon?
No, I get them
Depot owns them.
online. They're
I got
cheap. I buy 8 bulbs for $50.
And these are
Eight
these go into
They're 4 foot LED. And
and they
they'll
go
last
into an old fluorescent fixture, or they come with their own fixture.
their own thing. They're built in. It's just
Okay, built in.
yeah. It's just
Yeah, I mean,
it's just a 4 foot strip.
the cost between a fluorescent and LED is cheaper. And you know, if I were to buy a brand new fluorescent, if I were to buy a system that had fluorescent bulbs and then just replace the bulbs, it's every so often, it's not worth. I mean, at this point, it's like if you buy a fluorescent bulb, it's about the same price as a brand new system anyway.
Right. Luke is here.
Hi.
Have you
Yeah,
met
I think-
Have you two met Luke and
Yeah.
EJ?
More than once. I think we overtook a stream one time with all the mad jokes.
yeah. No, well,
That was fast.
He was
I
looking.
hope I hope his girlfriend gets better treatment than that.
if I was starting, you're right. I would definitely go at this point with LEDs.
Yeah.
If I was new doing it, starting from scratch,
Yeah.
If I-
You don't see the value of updating your system right now.
Now, RJ got me
Yeah,
on the
that's-
because I'm sitting here having a drink and watching TV and listening to you guys. And RJ's dead set in his ways about these LEDs.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
You got
it's,
me riled
look, the
up.
one,
I feel like when him and Father Fish argue about stuff, I'm like, wait a second. The argument of them being expensive to replace if they conk out because you can't replace the individual LEDs, they're so cheap on Amazon. If they last 3 years, the
Yeah.
amount of bulbs that you replaced in 3 years is the exact same, if not less than replacing.
I get 5 to 12 years out of the fluorescent.
Or out of one bulb.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Easy.
you do,
Yeah, but
but
you don't,
the
you do not measure the spectrum.
yeah.
Because that
Yeah.
spectrum,
The spectrum dies after 6 months.
LEDs.
you lose about 50% of, after about 6 months, you lose about 50% of
Mhm.
the brightness. I mean, but like I said, the thing is, like even my desk lamp here, you know,
I
That's-
have a bearded dragon, and
well,
I
it's
have to
fluorescent.
replace the fluorescent bulb annually, whether or not the bulb goes out, because it loses. A bearded dragon absolutely has to have UVB, and after about 6 months to a year, the fluorescent bulb loses UVB and basically all
It
the
does,
yeah, and
it does.
yeah, and there's just, I mean, so whether or not, and the same goes for if I use it for plants, you know? I
Well,
would-
LEDs, especially inexpensive LEDs, are going to degrade quicker probably, but they still degrade slower over time than the fluorescent does,
Absolutely.
just by design. But you're not going to realize they're degraded.
Yeah, but see, I have a trick.
That's the
I use the new bulbs. I use the new bulbs on bigger tanks, and when the bulbs get older, they go over the 3 and the 5 behind it. So
Oh,
that's
you
a
got it.
very old bulb
You got
that
a
has plenty of
Well, and then
for a
fluorescent.
tank.
I didn't hear the full conversation, but the fluorescents versus the LEDs, what Father Fish was saying, 600 watt. You were saying what? That's like so you have a 40 watt. That's a 600 watt equivalent. I'm assuming roughly. That's incandescent, not fluorescent. Fluorescent only going to be
40.
20 watts more than that or something, probably, right?
Yeah.
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 I've looked into this.
Yeah,
It's a really tough subject to explain. I've looked into this quite a bit, and even then, like, to the point where I thought about getting one of those readers where it looked at lumens instead.
So the weed industry, this is a bigger argument
Weed
for them
industry?
than
Oh,
it is
do
for the
tell,
fish- for the fish industry.
What state are you in again? I'm just.
Michigan.
Oh, well, it's legal in Ontario, so.
I'm in the state too. I never thought I'd live long enough, but I'm in a state where it's perfectly legal.
Right,
Yeah,
right. So
Maryland,
all of
too.
a sudden, this science is becoming mainstream.
Well, yeah, so that was the big argument. Guys were saying, you had the old school guys that were like, oh no, the sodium halide or whatever, you got to grow your plants under that, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
The entire industry has switched pretty much to LEDs in the last year and a half.
Can I also point out that LEDs don't emit as much heat, and so it's really easy to stay under the radar if there's cops in the air.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that, though, of course.
In my,
Nothing.
in my state, it's legal to smoke marijuana, but God forbid you grow it because that would deprive the state of
Oh,
tax.
I think in
It
most
just has to
states,
magically get to you.
yeah, I think in most states these days, they're not, regardless of the law, they're not prosecuting if you're caught with a little bit of a little amount of it, unless they
I
really
suspect
don't like
growing
you.
is I suspect growing is going to be akin to the death penalty because they're losing tax revenue, and the state will never miss that. Any opportunity to tax you, they will never do. They don't care if you smoke drugs, but
I mean, if we're going to legalize it, because, look, and Colorado is actually a perfect, study, because when they legalized in 2012, and now it's been 10 years since then, so you want to take a look at that and go, this is a case study that we can see what was the result of. God bless, we need those taxes there because, crime's gone up.
Well, wait a second. Now
Yeah, it has. Crime's gone up. And no, hear me on this. A lot of people moved to Colorado simply because it was legal.
I was
They
going to
literally-
say, and those people are now the vagrants there.
Yes, and so small crime has gone up, but also, and I hate to break this to you, I look at California too. Because I was looking at what was the social impact, because I hate it when people say, oh, let's just legalize it and not think about all how it affects, society as a whole. I'm not talking, forgive me, but I'm not talking religious. I think that's a terrible argument in many cases. I'm thinking more of, or the moral argument. I want to see, does it make people's quality of life better or worse? And
Wait, which state did the shrooms and the weed? Was that Colorado?
Colorado was in 2012.
Yeah, who did shrooms? Somebody legalized.
I think Oregon was also the same year, but I can't remember. Washington came out after.
I
But
think New Jersey may have legalized shrooms. I'm not sure. I
recently,
didn't look it up.
I don't know. I'm looking specific. I do remember in California.
You should sue professionally eat shrooms. It's the craziest.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know. Yeah, but Father Fish Marks, so you might have insight.
I have nothing to add on what happens when you get your fish stoned. I can tell you what happens when your rodent gets stoned.
I can tell you what happens when a dog gets stoned.
Yeah, exactly. I had an alcoholic drug addict rodent. She would hunt down anything that could intoxicate her. If you dropped the pill, she would dive on it.
They have studies for that with rats.
On the other hand, there are other rats. That other rats that won't go anywhere near anything, alcohol. Oh my God, they walk away. So it's a personality thing. It really is.
Oh yeah, in many cases it is. But you look at okay, so California has legalized marijuana for ages, even unofficially before that. But you look at the amount of people who go to rehab and the reason why they go to rehab, and marijuana use is number 2. First is prescription drugs. So I'd like to apologize for all the women out there who get their hands on prescription drugs because we're very popular with us. But yeah. Oh, Luke's gonna fact check. Good.
No, I can't see the chat because I'm on my iPad. So
Oh yeah, well
I just imagine they're
So my point is that why would a state that's legalized something have a really high amount of people going to rehab over specifically weed? Now, in many cases, I don't know, it's court ordered, right?
It has more THC than it's ever had.
Yeah.
Well, no. Let me add one thing though. Something going to rehab for something that's illegal
Right.
is something that a lot of people won't do.
Right, but it wasn't. That's the problem. I keep that in mind, but I'm like, oh, well, it's court. It's number 2 in the state. It must be court ordered. No, it's legal.
Right. But the point is, before then, if you had a problem with drugs,
Yeah.
you can't go into a rehab place without filling out all these papers and waiving your civil rights and possibly getting busted. So, the problem is that, unless you were really a junkie with nothing to lose, you couldn't go to rehab. Now you can have a soccer mom who's, smoking too much grass going to rehab, and that's not a social stigma thing anymore or illegal anymore.
No, it's not. But who puts the bill? That's my question. That's my big.
I want to do a fish thing here. Only Oscar.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah, only Oscar.
That's my fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm dying here, guys.
Only Oscar has thrown down the gauntlet here. He says, Father Fish, I read the guidelines and agreed to them. I don't know what he's referring to. Probably Discord. I didn't think this channel is your me. I don't know what he means by that. My way of keeping fish has been rudely discounted. If your way is the only way, I would not keep fish.
I have a perspective on this. Go ahead. I want dibs. I want next on this. Go ahead.
Dibs?
Go ahead, jump in.
This is the kind of person, or that comment, I should say, because I don't know the guy, but this comment is stereotypical of the forums that people give information and are just rude and crappy and try to prevent people from getting into the hobby. Instead of just saying, hey, what you're doing is cool, this is what I do. He's like, I am not being talked about enough, or you're not addressing or acknowledging me.
Pay
So
attention to me.
yeah,
please.
you're rude and you're an a-hole. That's
Hey.
ridiculous.
So my first introduction, one of my first introductions on Discord was actually a conversation with you, RJ, and it was there's more than one way to keep fish. That was the entire conversation. So I just don't
Well,
see a
and
problem
see,
with that.
the thing-
That's the culture of the Discord that's on there.
Yeah, and that's the
Well,
issue.
you know something.
Go ahead, RJ.
Father Fish and I have hung out here in front of you people, and I'm sure there's some of you there thinking, well, you know, these guys don't always agree. You know, they may both have great beards, but they don't necessarily agree, and we really don't.
You know, I would
Okay.
like to not be
What
included in
happens
that, by
is-
the way.
You're not. You're
He
an
said
attractive
both.
lady, and you should not have a gray beard.
Hey, there are
But,
women out there
so,
with
no, what I'm saying-
fantastic beards. Have you seen TikTok lately?
No, I stay away from things
No,
like that.
thank you. But
Just saying.
so in any case, the Father Fish method is a great method. It's a good place to start. It's a good place to go. I came to Father Fish, and we sat down a long time ago, and I came doing research on a project that I was working on. And Father Fish's background, I went through all of his chemicals. I went through all of his additive package. And it's a good package, okay? I analyzed everything in it, you know, and had to brush up on my chemistry. And I phoned a friend in Asia who spent a lot of time with me going through all the chemicals and the half-lives and the breakdowns and whatever. So I'm going to tell you, it's going to work, okay? Now, it's not something I can do in a 3-gallon aquarium. If I put 6 inches of sand and
I made it
dirt
work.
in that, huh?
I made it work.
And you had more than a crab.
It took a million
I'm serious.
tries, though. It took a million tries. But keep going. You were saying.
Well, I've got one of these days we'll talk about my shortcut, my denitrator, but that's besides the point. The
Okay.
point is, I was doing a lot of research, and what Father Fish does is good. And there's other things, and I'm doing something different, and I'm researching something different. But what he does is great, and he's right, and he's going to help you out. He's going to get your aquarium set up. You're
Well,
going to have
it's
nitrates.
keep it simple, stupid. You know, it's like,
Yeah, it is.
you know,
It's
Well, there's
easier
actually
than
not.
it's more cost effective and easier than walking into a pet store and go, hey, I want a fish. What should I buy?
No, please
Virtually.
don't be fooled. There's a hell of a lot of chemistry that goes behind the Father Fish system.
There is.
And there's physics, and there's chemistry, and there's permeability. And I mean, I studied this in detail, and he's done a hell of a lot. Some of it really I don't think is necessary, but he really has a lot going for it. And so we became friends as we wound up arguing over things and debating things. And we're going to still disagree on some of the finer points. And we've had fish different ways. He's had a pet store. I'm more of a breeder. We're going to have some differences as we go, which is fine. But there's 2 ways to do things, you know, sometimes. But if you come in and you want to learn something, you will. We'll teach you. And if you say to me, look, I want another method, I can teach you another method too. Maybe as good, maybe not as good, but maybe special for your needs. You know, I've got a 20 gallon tank. It's not a real 20. It's based on a 20 short, and the whole aquarium is 2 inches tall.
Oh yeah, I love those. You can do
I
that.
have no idea why it was built, but it's got a faucet drain in the bottom. It's a slate
Yeah.
bottom.
Yeah, is that where you're supposed to get like fast movement, right?
I have no idea what it is. I got it at auction for $2, and I wasn't going to do something with it. It's still in my basement. But it's 24 inches by 12 inches by maybe 3 inches tall. That's
Yeah.
the whole aquarium. There's nothing you're going to do with deep substrate and have water in it. You know,
No,
but-
no,
That's
but
true.
that's because
You
it would
need a
mimic
sump.
a fast flowing system.
I would
That's
do a
not-
sump.
What?
I would do a sump with that tank.
Ah.
Right. But I mean, you know, so the point is, if you came in with that Father Fish, or I will figure out a way to make it work for you. but it's not going to look like the system that EJ has in her house, you know, but they're
No.
both old.
It might, because I really want, hashtag life goal is to create or recreate a fast flowing river system. I have to do something.
That is in the back of my mind as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the thing in my basement, and I may not live long enough to get around it. So if you're ever in New Jersey, we can work something out.
One of these days, I'm going to be heading over to Maryland.
It's
So pit stop.
So on another note,
Yeah.
I have a question if anyone has an opinion on this. I think I mentioned a little while back, I've got 3 rock flower anemones in my saltwater. No Father Fish doesn't like anemones in general. So
Rock flowers are fine.
I like.
okay. So
I
I've
don't
got
have
3
problem
rock
with rock
flowers, and I
They
had
don't
a
have
bubble.
tentacles.
Yeah, I had a rock or a bubble tip that I pinched in a rock that like was pissed about that and spewed out a bunch of stuff.
Right.
It washed right over one of the rock flowers, and he's been very unhappy for the last month or so.
Oh.
So he is coming back to life, you can say. Like, he didn't die or anything, but what happened to him is, I don't know what you call them, but the very end of, like, around the outside edge, the little tentacles or whatever that they have,
Right.
they basically disappeared. They didn't fall off, they just shrank. And then he became non-sticky. He didn't lose his color, he didn't spit out the whatever stuff. But he's not sticky, so if I go to feed him, he can't grab a hold of it. He still tries to close up, he just can't grab it. So I have to basically put it in his mouth.
Father Fish, is he talking about something like a tube anemone?
No. No,
Okay.
it's a polyp.
Okay.
It's a
Because
it's like a single polyp with a lot of threads on it.
because we
it's
had
more
we had
like it's more like a jellyfish.
okay. Now, we had a tube anemone years ago that anything it touched it murdered. Any other anemones, any fish,
Yeah.
we would just catch goldfish. We used to feed goldfish, and we just catch the goldfish and suck them right down into its mouth while they were still swimming. And my
That
friend,
sounds fun.
So
My
Luke,
friend-
what's your ratio, Luke?
So that's what they look like. Oop, oop.
I
Oh
can't see
yeah,
your
they're beautiful.
feet.
Oh, wow.
They come in amazing colors too.
So the issue that I have is
Hey, I'm sorry, guys. I gotta sign off. I'm so sorry.
okay.
I'm exhausted, but I'm gonna watch what you guys say from the background. So.
Thanks for
It only
calling
piss you
us
off.
today.
Come back in and correct us.
Fun to have you
cool,
here.
Luke. Talk to you guys.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
So
So
my,
much fun.
my question is, what can I do about the stickiness? So what's happened is 10% of those little things around the outside ring have started to like puff back up and grow back. The colors deepen. There's more like fluorescence in the anemone. Just without spot feeding, really, just with it being under the light, and letting it do its own thing. But is there anything I can do to help bring that stickiness back, or is that just something that's going to take a lot of time and like help?
Yeah, the reason he lost his stickiness is because he got attacked.
Typically by the other anemone.
Okay, and when that happened, his defense mechanism is to get out of town. The only
So
way,
so it shed that to protect itself.
exactly. The only way he can do that is to make himself the victim of the currents. The stickiness is what he uses to hold on to a location.
Well, he's holding on. He's in a crevice, but it's also like what I'm talking about is the top part where he grabs the food. He's not able to.
Yeah, same thing though.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
same deal. So what I did, that bubble tip kept looking rougher and rougher, and I took him out this morning. So that bubble tip is just gone. I fed him to the Oscar.
No comment.
I'm just kidding. I didn't feed him to the Oscar, but that, close. So he's out of the tank, so I'm hoping now, like,
I told him 6 weeks ago to get
I
rid of
know,
it.
I know.
Well, you know, like I said, we gotta.
All that hope.
My friend went and he took his tube anemone out of his aquarium because he was going to treat the fish with copper, and he dropped it in my aquarium, and I had a 8-inch. Oh God, it was a green carpet, a green 8-inch green carpet
Oh,
anemone in my tank.
I
And
gotta
this
look-
thing slithered out of its tube and went walking across my aquarium. And by the time I got home, my carpet anemone was fried, roasted, and
Oh,
dead.
yeah.
There was nothing left.
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
no.
you have to be very careful when you're dealing with anemones. And if you ever see a
Yeah.
tube anemone, they are beautiful. They look like willow trees.
Yeah.
It looks like a willow tree. It is gorgeous. Do not put that in with anything else that's
Oh,
alive.
they do look really cool.
It will eat
Yeah.
your fish. It will poison and eat your fish. It will kill your other anemones. And the sucker can pull out of it. It comes with a tube. It comes equipped with a tube. And it just slides out of the tube, walks across the tank, makes a new tube, and kills everything in its path.
Well, what do you guys think about sea cucumbers?
I think
I never-
it's like having a piece of shit laying in your tank.
They look, but if it was fluorescent.
I've never had them,
Fluorescent
but
shit.
I've seen them. I don't know anybody who's ever had one. I hear
I've
they're
had,
very,
yeah, I've had them. I've collected them.
Yeah,
they're a filter feeder, right? It's a filter
They're
feeder.
well, no, they're not a filter feeder. They're a dirt eater.
Oh, okay.
They're
they'll
a mud
filter the
eater.
sand. They'll eat the substrate.
Yeah, they
and
take
crap it out.
it in, digest it, and poop out the sand.
Okay. That makes
The
sense.
problem with them is they die. And when
That
they
always hurts.
die, that's a big chunk of rotten, putrid
Mush.
mess in a
Yeah.
saltwater tank.
It's a lot. Yeah, they do get big. So, okay, so I'm not getting one of those.
Good.
You know, I had no problems. I had 2 bubble tips and the 3 rock flowers, and they all lived peacefully in harmony, and nothing happened. And I added a rock, and when I added a rock to the aquarium, the one bubble tip just kept moving around. He couldn't find a good spot after that where he liked the flow and everything.
Yeah.
And
Well,
So-
it put pressure on the food supply.
Wait till your anemone attaches itself to the heater. That's usually what cooked anemone. You'll burn off half of the like an old Atlantic anemone.
oh,
We lost about half of it in one shot. So wait till your anemone attaches itself to the heater. That's always really disappointing.
The carpets are not bad. You can do a carpet anemone if you're really
Carpets are beautiful.
hot
Yeah.
to do anemones. But the rock flowers, they're really perfect because they're not going to
Yeah.
mess anything else up.
and they don't really move. They seem to just hang out by each other and do their,
Whatever happened to the Atlantics? Years ago we had Atlantic anemones for $2.98 in every store.
Yeah, the
You know,
pink tip.
pink or purple tip. Yeah.
Yeah, they stopped. Well, they're still available. They're just so nasty.
They were durable.
They really are. They kill everything.
Did they? We had them. Like I said, we also had the
What are
the
they
two
called?
Atlantic anemone. It
Doesn't
doesn't bother
bother
fish.
fish.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I'm sure it kills other stuff though. But it's a nice
Oh.
anemone.
I've seen those at Petco actually, or PetSmart, whichever one. I think it's PetSmart, but they have 2 of these for sale, and I thought that they were bleached actually, because they're so.
They don't
Right.
have the pink on them. They're
Yeah.
And
just
the little
from,
tips.
they're just from a little further north. They're
Yeah, they have
not
little pink or
they're
purple
not a
tips.
Caribbean. They're more an Atlantic,
Interesting.
East Coast.
Trying to find a bigger picture to show here, but
They they will they'll eat goldfish. We used to feed it goldfish, guppies. They'll eat they'll eat brine shrimp, frozen shrimp. They'll eat anything.
Oh, that brings up a good point. So what should so all I've got is frozen raw shrimp, but what should, I read on a forum, I was looking and a guy was talking about his rock flower that had hit itself from the light and just withered away to the size of a dime, and then he was feeding it stuff. Any recommendations on what I should spot feed this thing periodically to help it back to health?
How big is it? I can't see your video.
It's
About 2 inches, I guess.
not even. It's probably
Prawn,
inch and a half at this point, inch and a quarter,
Hmm.
something like that.
prawn, silver sides.
You know, okay, so I
Well,
have a
little
beef.
pig, you're feeding shrimp. That's the easiest thing.
I
just
cut up
tiny,
shrimp with
Tiny cut pieces. Do
yeah.
not overfeed. Because
So
if
what
you
about this-
overfeed, it'll vomit out undigested
Well, and that's something that I
material.
read, and that was something that I was doing wrong from the get go with them. I would only feed them just every once in a while as a treat, anyways. They were growing fine.
Exactly.
But
I think prawn would be better than shrimp because the prawn has the head, it has the carcass, it has.
You don't
all
want
of
to feed
those-
the whole thing though.
yeah, I'd
You
have
want
to
I
to
cut
always-
eat
I
tiny
always
bits.
figure that that's they need the they need the
All
the
the
chitin.
the, the shell. So
The
Yeah.
the problem is when you get to feeding these things,
Mhm.
you're creating a biomass problem in the tank
right.
that puts tremendous pressure on the ability of the tank to handle the waste load.
Well, that was a conversation about silver sides because
Mhm.
the store that
Yeah,
I bought.
I
some of the stuff-
I never do that.
Because silver sides are like super oily. It looks like, and one thing that I noticed is even though that I cut them up pretty small, the anemones all spit them out, which was weird, and I didn't
Even
like
the
that
fish.
because
Even the fish eating them make a mess of them.
okay. And the
It-
shrimp,
yeah.
as long as I shred the shrimp, so I noticed I was cutting big pieces. Sometimes they would spit them back out, or they would seem like sick after that for a little bit. But someone said, well, you need to cut them up or like break them down like a little bit for them before you give them to them instead of giving them chunks. So I started like kind of cutting them with scissors and then kind of having shredded shrimp in there, and they seem to not spit any of it back out now.
well, yeah, they got to be able to. An anemone will swallow something and more than it can digest, and they have to spit it out because it ate too
That's
much.
exactly right.
You
And
know,
that
we
makes a mess.
unless it's a tube anemone, in which case you can literally feed it 20 or 30 goldfish and it will just keep getting bigger. I've never saw stupid things spit anything out. But for other anemones, I've fed them and, they're eating and they've had their third goldfish and next thing you know, that they just spit it out. It's just too much. So, you can't overfeed an anemone.
I just didn't know if there were any tricks to getting the stickiness back on them other than just
It'll come back.
get
If it recovers, it'll come back. Yeah, that's basically it. Once the poison gets out of its system, it'll heal
yeah.
like anything else.
Well, and I wondered if the bubble tip that was slowly withering away wasn't. I suspect it as it's withering away, it's slowly releasing crap into the water. So
No,
I figured that
it slowly dissolves. Anemones, when they get smaller, don't really do not anything to it.
Yeah,
What do
there's
they
not
just?
much waste there.
okay.
They just eat. They basically live off their own tissue until they cease to exist.
Gotcha. Okay. I was concerned. Actually, that's the only reason I took him off today because he was still alive. But my gosh, he was a sixth or an eighth the size of when I got him. I mean, he was really small.
You have to be careful because some anemones go hunting, and they'll be back in their place the next day. You turn on the light. You turn on the light, and these suckers are on the other side of the aquarium. But by the next morning, they're back in their spot. And then they're not, they're not plants. They're animals, and as animals, they can go hunting and they can forage and they can do a lot of things that you really don't.
Yeah, everybody says that they move around a lot, and I find that interesting because I don't really. So that's once I pinched it was the only time it moved around a lot. But all the rock flowers and the other bubble tip, they stay put. They found their spot and they stay there. And our store, our local store, they have a couple real big tanks that they sell stuff out of, and they're just packed full of anemones. They're always in the same spot when we go there. So I feel like unless you change something, or they just can't find a good spot, and that's where that one, once it got pinched and I put the rock in and all that stuff, it couldn't find a good spot, so it just kept moving around, looking and looking.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you know where it found the spot on the top glass, because mine has a very small opening. It found a spot on the top glass, hanging upside down, about 2 inches over from the light, shaded, but it wasn't getting any light. You know, and it just sat there where there was water flow, but it was just slowly withering away. It wouldn't grab on anything that I tried to feed it, you know, so whatever, it happens.
You know, something you're gonna learn with every kind of an odd animal, because you're gonna just have luck with some, have less luck with others. If it's in a place it's not gonna go, try moving it. Try to move your water flow a little bit, adjust the water flow. You're gonna mess with it until it works. That's just really where you're at.
Well,
Sometimes
saltwater
thing about the anemones is if you adjust your water flow, well, everything else in that salt water is set in there based on water flow, all my other little corals and stuff. So if I adjust the water flow for that bubble tip, it's gonna either blow some sand around or it's gonna screw something else up. So I decided to just let the bubble tip do his own thing, because majority rules, I've got like 6 other things in there that are doing fine, so I didn't want to screw that up, because I'm the worst thing that could happen to that aquarium.
Right.
Well, something, that's true of all community tanks. Sometimes they're gonna do what they do, and when you get 3 fish that are all supposed to be perfectly happy together and they're just not.
Yeah.
Generally, the less you put in terms of animals, the more hardscape you put in, and the less animals you put in, the better the tank is going to be with
Right.
salt water, because it allows the animals that are in there to fully develop their life activity. I've
Right.
had them spawn and have the babies spawn, just have whole generations of little gobies in a saltwater tank, when I had like a 60-gallon tank, almost solid, with coral,
Mhm.
with rock, and maybe 6-8 fish in it.
Yeah, obviously it's not a big aquarium,
Little
but
fish.
I've only got the 2 clownfish in there, and then I have a very small
A little,
neon goby
a
in
little
there.
goby, yeah.
Yeah, but
You got some crabs. Yeah, I would get.
one.
Is that right? I would get some more of those gobies.
Oh, you're right. I have 2. I have the hermit crab and I have the emerald crab, but I
Right.
never see them really.
I saw
They're
one.
still there.
I
They're
saw
still there.
one.
They come out and I put I'm not sure what it's called, but it's a little SPS that's got branches. I put just the tiniest piece of it. It's like fluorescent green, and it's got little branches. Anyways, they gave it to us, and it was a bunch of broken pieces. I threw those pieces in there, and the emerald crab. I looked an hour later, and the emerald crab has one like this, and it's eating it like a corn.
Dinner time.
Yeah, so $25 snack. So
Anyone who's done fish for any length of time has made bigger mistakes than that. We all botch it up. We all get it wrong every now
Particularly
and then.
with saltwater, because there are no guidelines. And
With the invert
there's so many variables and so many things you can do. Really makes it exciting. One of the things I really like about your tank is the extent of the coralline algae growth.
Yeah.
It's really substantial, and that's very significant because that provides a foundation for all of the microfauna.
Yeah, I've never had an issue growing that. I don't know what the trick to that is. It's magic.
No, you just don't have something that's eating it all
A
on
lot
you.
of
There's
calcium.
Well,
certain-
that's true, and I
You got
don't.
nothing
yeah, I don't
pulling
introduce-
calcium out. Yeah,
that's
no
You know,
stony corals.
you can get ridiculous amounts of fish in a small saltwater aquarium if you do them slowly over time. I had for example, a 10-gallon tank with a sargassum anglerfish in, and it ate 5 goldfish a week. In a 10-gallon tank, it didn't
Yeah.
have water changes hardly ever. I mean, I had a baby moray, snowflake moray. I had queen angels, flame angels in 10-gallon tanks all together.
Really?
And I mean, packed wall-to-wall saltwater fish. But it just takes a while for your bacteria culture to get to that level.
Yeah,
And
you gotta
you
get it
burn a
built
lot of
up,
red
that's
algae.
right.
You know, so the only time I've ever had an issue with that, you're talking about like the red slime or whatever algae that grows on the sand and whatnot.
No,
Yep, turned the whole tank red and left it
No,
that
the
way.
coralline-
The tank was bright red.
yeah. Who is you? You mean what he
Well,
was?
RJ, I thought RJ when he said I thought you were talking about like you had the red slime algae.
That's what it looks like. It just grows over everything. The tank just turned bright red, and the fish were perfectly fine with it.
Yeah. So
And there was no nitrate, no ammonia, no pH problem. The tank ran on red algae, whatever it is.
Really?
It's
I
whether
had
it-
issues with the cyanobacteria, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
cyano is probably what it
That's
is.
right.
Yeah, red.
Yeah.
So I had issues with that in my very first saltwater tank because I didn't know anything. I'm not saying this is the 100% reason, but I didn't have the light on a timer and all that good stuff. And then I also had an auto feeder on there, which was dumb. I shouldn't have done that. And I wasn't keeping the water topped off properly. But I noticed I get just the tiniest bit of it in the edge. So I've got an LED and I've got a relatively tall tank. So it comes down right at the edge of that light. If I overfeed a little bit for like a week or so, I put a little extra in there. I'll get a little bit of that right on that edge and right on the sand. And if I don't feed for 3 or 4 days, it disappears.
Right.
It needs a lot of light. I had the lights on fluorescence again. That's what I had back then. But it was on 24 hours a day to keep that red stuff happy and growing. But I mean, the tank was
It
great.
didn't hurt anything. Yeah, it
Doesn't hurt anything. I was shocked. It was by a total accident. The red stuff grew. I fought it for a while. I gave up. The gravel was covered, was a red carpet. The wall, other than the glass I looked in was red. The coral was covered in red. The whole tank was bright red. The fish were doing phenomenal. Did not touch that. Leave it alone because it was cool. It was, a red aquarium. Imagine.
Well, that's just like Father Fish was talking about, algae in general, is good for the tank because it's a balance. So like if that's growing, it's just balancing out the tank.
That's exactly
is.
right.
So it's not a big deal. The tank's running fine, but the problem is when people are like, oh, well, I don't like the way that looks, and they don't know why it's there in the first place, and they just start taking it out or trying to kill it or whatever it is. Not
Red
realizing
takes-
they're screwing up, the cycle. They're not really figuring out why it's there. They're just removing it,
Well,
Right.
red takes a little while to get used to when your whole tank turns red. It took a while to get used to, and then after that, I kind of looked at it and said, well, that's actually pretty cool. I've never had a red aquarium before. Let's just see how far it goes. And eventually created a carpet that covered
Oh, yeah.
the underlevel filter entirely, wall-to-wall solid carpet. And then I had to break it up a little bit, but yeah.
I was surprised at how easy it was to control when I see people talking about how hard it is to control in their aquariums. But then I watch videos on YouTube and I look at their, 50 gallon, 100 gallon, 75 gallon, whatever it is, by volume, they spray a whole bunch of food into that aquarium, and the entire water column is cloudy when they feed.
That's exactly right.
Like, well, there's your
That's exactly right.
With like 15 fish in a 10-gallon tank, I'm feeding a lot. And, like I said, let's start with that. One being a moray eel, so it's wanting bigger food than the
Right.
others. I didn't have any, any inverts in the tank other than the little half pink, half purple worms that were living in the gravel. But aside from that, as much as everything seemed to go south, I was working 2 jobs at the time, and I didn't come home to turn the lights off until like 3 a.m. I just didn't bother to go to the basement. So lights were on 24 hours, but it was fluorescent, so too much light.
Yeah.
I did enough wrong to justify how it happened. But once it happened, it was cool.
If you think about it, like, it does its own thing. It's our intervention that screws it up. If you let it go, it'll keep going.
It'll
If
balance.
you try to
Yeah.
fix it,
Yeah.
you'll screw it up. So,
Gentlemen, we've been here 2.5 hours.
Yeah, well, something.
What?
And the pretty girls are all gone.
Yeah.
all we have is beards.
Yeah, we're down to the beards.
Happen.
TJ, we miss you. I hope you
Luke,
have
what
a
do you
lovely
think
day.
about this this issue we were talking about
What's that?
earlier today? The multiple broadcasting on multiple channels.
I don't know. I've got to look into it a little bit more. It definitely was an issue. So what? I'm not sure how much you guys went down that rabbit hole, but basically, I received a notification from YouTube about invalid content related. It looked like to the fact that Father Fish was restreaming through my channel. I can't be 100% sure because YouTube's a little vague. And they're very vague and threatening. They're like, "Oh, figure it out." But if you don't figure it out, we're gonna ruin you.
Yeah, I had about 8 copyright infringements, but as I looked at it, it looked like it was claiming that somebody else was using my material.
Content. Yeah.
And
Was
with
it me
somebody
or was
else
it an actual
was
aquarium?
my own channels or
Yeah.
people I knew about.
It would appear that the algorithm doesn't differentiate, and we're probably going to have to address that differently and not do that. It's just they have no human looks at it, and the computer looks at it, and when it scans the video, it says all these videos are the same, and they don't differentiate between you having multiple channels versus a third party having a channel. It's what it appears. Because they penalized me, it would appear to some extent for it. Not enough to matter, but it's still, you got to beat the algorithm if you want to get more subscribers and views. Otherwise, they're just going to not show you to people.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
right.
That's annoying. So I would think, from what I can tell, that it's prohibitive to do the multiple streams. Now, using multiple platforms, streaming to Facebook, YouTube, whatever other social media platforms simultaneously, yes. But multiple YouTube channels with the exact same broadcast feed, because you got to remember, YouTube can look at the actual feed coming in and say, "Oh, that's the exact same feed being broadcast from this source address to all 6 or 7 channels." So they frown upon
It's called networking.
Well, well, no, something, let me just say this, that, if we were to be on one YouTube place where people can find us and then upload the recorded video onto the other channels later, that makes sense too.
Well, and that's not a bad idea, manipulating it. in
They
some
do
way.
the same thing with that, though.
That's not manipulating.
Yeah, but that's when you get copyright strikes.
Well, that's what I'm saying, manipulating. So you could just straight do it. It would be in the same boat. But if you manipulated it slightly, it would be enough to trick the computer looking at it.
Yeah, you could change the speed or the front end.
Yeah, change the opening and the outro and maybe like
Yeah.
do something stupid to it. Put a banner on it or
Well,
something.
the thing about live streams is they have no afterlife.
I know. So that's true unless they get clipped up. On that note, I seen
Exactly.
your video, by the way, of you had a video with the King of DIY.
Yeah.
Does everybody know who that is?
Yeah.
Quite popular on YouTube.
Right.
He had a good point. Your production quality must go up for more viewers, so we have to address that in some way. So I have a couple inexpensive ideas, like maybe replace the camera, and I have a couple
Working
ideas.
microphone.
He's got a microphone. Where's it at?
I couldn't use it. It kept going because it kept turning off.
Battery kept on.
You got to charge both pieces.
I did. I had it in permanently.
No, that doesn't charge it. You got to plug that into the USB.
There's no USB. Oh, there is. Really? So you got to plug them both into the USB.
Yeah, you just got to get them charged up. They're probably good for like 5 to 8 hours or something on a charge. But yeah, you got to charge them both. So.
Oh, what a pain in the ass that is.
Yeah, so it's technology, right?
I figured if it was plugged in, it would be charging.
That's
But
why I
yeah, I
asked you
guess
the other
there's
day
no
if you were
there's
charging.
no juice coming out of the speaker, is there?
No.
Fuck.
Well, something. One of the things about live streams is if we did live streams that were more on focus or on target, then
Well,
they could be captioned with live stream on Catfish, live stream on Corridors. live
That
stream
means
on
I gotta
Gold.
pull this thing out and stick it in the other outlet. Only use it once or twice a week.
Well, there you go. Then yes.
Crap.
Yeah, you want to keep it charged. Let's
I
put it
gotta
that
keep
way.
it. I gotta get another one of these things.
So
Well, you just
yeah.
put it on wire. You know what they have? Father Fish, you know what they have? They've got microphones that are wired. You don't have to
Well,
charge.
so the reason we got that was because he uses the speakers for these kind of things, and we were trying to cut out the echo or background.
So do I.
Huh?
So do I.
I know, but he doesn't have a dollar microphone.
Well, no, there's a setting in my computer which says
I know.
kill background noise.
Yeah, he has that through StreamYard, and the software here does it too. But I think it's the volume that he has it at.
Okay.
I suspect I'm not at his house. I have no idea. All I can do is send him stuff on Amazon.
We got two of these microphones, a white one and a black one. The black one is very unidirectional. You literally have to put your mouth to it.
Is that one of those old Logitech like pen mics or whatever?
No, it's I don't know who makes it. It was a dollar store.
It is. It's the same style. Those are the best mics that I've ever found, and I can't they don't make those readily at the stores anymore. But
No, it's an old condenser mic.
they're pretty nice for what they are and for the price.
For a buck, yeah, they're pretty amazing. 20 years into it.
Well, you used to be able to get them for like $20 brand new, when they were selling them at Walmart and stuff. But
Then they dumped them to the dollar stores when I ran across them. But I got a black one and a white one. The black one is totally unidirectional. You have to put your mouth right up to it, and that's it. No background sound. My daughter has that one, or she did until she misplaced it. And I have this one. This one I can wander around the room, and the computer will automatically readjust the level, so that although I'm walking around,
exactly. I know. So
yeah.
my idea for the live stream is, and Father Fish and I talked about this a little bit, but I do think that in terms of utilizing these live streams better, if we could have some topic or topics and kind of go down the chain, it would be more beneficial for either clipping or for the live stream in general, or regurgitating that information or breaking it down and editing it later. But One of the things that we need to do is is probably get Father Fish a digital camera of some sort instead of a webcam that has better resolution. That's on my list of things to do. We got him a better computer so you can see these streams aren't so choppy and laggy and all the issues that he was having.
Yeah,
before
that's
with switching
making a world
screens.
of difference.
I love when he busts out his flashlight. That's hilarious to me. He's like, "Oh, let me check." He turns out.
You know something? If you've seen the old timers, like Father Fish's age, they walk around their fish room with a flashlight and these things that go up and down over your eyeglasses, so that you can look, see the, so you can see the
He's
fish.
got him right behind him. Look, he's looking for him right now.
Where'd I put
I
it?
mean, I'm not joking. You know, you go into
yeah,
these
I got
old timers' place, like,
I
you
got
know,
'em right
people in the
here
80s,
somewhere.
90s, they got these things that just flip down. See, I can see perfectly well that fish has velvet. I mean, I can't see it to save my life, but you know, these old timers can. They literally wander around their fish room with this thing on their head, going up and down as they look into the aquariums. So, yeah, I mean,
Bass Queen 71 says, "Oh Lord, I do that." Which one, the glasses or the flashlight?
no, they're magnifying glasses.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
They're, I mean, they're cool, and I mean, I remember being at someone's place, and they looked at me and said, "Don't you have glasses like this?" No, I still have eyesight that generally works. You know, no, you must have these. It's like,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't wear glasses. I don't feel like I need glasses at this point, but guess I'll find out. You know, there's a weird time where I thought like I was having an issue. I don't know. I go through phases where sometimes I have an issue with farsighted stuff, not focusing correctly, but then it happens for a week and it's fine. So I figure I'm probably just like dehydrated or something to that effect.
Now that can be blood pressure. No, it can be blood pressure, sugar related too. I have those issues. Like my blood pressure goes up, my vision changes.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with my sugar going too high. I have issues with my vision. So I've gotten glasses that were totally wrong because I got them at a time when my health wasn't that good, and I got to home and 3 months later my eyes changed. And now I've got a pair of glasses that are too strong. As a matter of fact, one of these lenses is too strong as it is, has to be reduced. So
he's still he's still looking for the magnifying glasses for his.
I brought a new
it's worse
set
than
in.
looking for your glasses when you don't have your glasses on.
Right.
So I guess that that goes.
Well, he didn't take his flashlight, so.
There we go.
RJ, what do you have for internet? I know that it blows with the wind and stuff, but do you have DSL or what do you have?
This is cable, but it's a discount, really discount package that my wife picked up because my daughter is in school.
Yeah.
And it's a pocket change internet. It's I think 2 megabits. Something.
Oh wow! So you don't have very much upload, so that's the reason that you're getting.
I mean, maybe 12. It's between 2 and 12, but it's not.
Your upload is probably only 1 or 2. That's probably why it's Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, and the camera is also something that weebled in here one day was there was an early microscope camera for. It was technologically advanced for its time, but it's actually was designed to be more of a microscope. But I didn't know use for a microscope. You can set it up so that it points down at things.
Yeah.
And so I had no use for it, and I just plugged it in. It's like, well, it's good enough. It works.
So you got 2 pieces of technology that work better than most pieces of technology now that weren't even meant to be used for this.
Yep, literally not meant to be used for this on a computer that still has bulldozer architecture. So, 3 bulldozers. Let's go AMD.
On a tangent about that, I was telling you about the computers we use and the computer that Father Fish has now.
Mm-hmm.
I just swapped out an i9, a brand new i9. Well, I should say brand new within the last 8 months. 9700 or something. Anyways, pretty much top line. It's like $400 or $500 Intel processor. I had nothing but problems with that machine, and I just swapped it out with one like Father Fish's today, and it runs circles around that, and I don't know what the correlation is because it shouldn't. But I got to thinking now I've got 3 other servers floating around with that processor in it that all kind of behave the same, so I don't know if it's a problem with it or they just suck at making them now. Or they
No, sometimes, you know something, I had a box like that I built. I couldn't get the damn thing to run. Everything tested fine. These are the days when we used to build our own computers, and I had a business that built computers. This thing came in, I could not get it to run. And I went to my vendor, who was an Oriental company, and I walked in. I said, "This board won't run. This just won't run." And you know, yes, it will. Whatever. He finally took it and just swapped it in a different case.
So you put it in a different motherboard?
Yeah. Well, you took the motherboard and everything, we assembled it. We just dropped it in a different case.
Okay, I wondered. Well, what I was getting at with that is when I ordered these, I ordered them all at the same time, so it would be likely be the same batch of processors, and I used the exact same motherboard and RAM in all of them. So, regardless, I was wondering. I was just wondering if.
You
So
sometimes
the next thing is to switch the motherboards in them.
no, sometimes you get. No, I'll tell you something. One of the things a friend of mine who was an engineer taught me was cut that fancy, pretty wiring apart. Sometimes you actually get cross feeds in the. You know, when people do these really nice wiring bundles.
Not
Sometimes-
me. You don't have to worry about that with me.
Yeah, neither. You know, I learned keep the wires apart where they're not. You know, they're not feedback on each one. But sometimes I've actually seen people who will take the computer that I built. And they'll come and they go, I want the wiring looking really sharp, and they bundle all the wiring. All of a sudden, you get all these weird problems. So yeah, you can get wiring bundle issues. You can get a lot of things that. And then sometimes I had an AMD processor. It was a 486, the early ones, and you couldn't do a Windows envelope. Word, Microsoft Word, Office. It was 98. You could not print an envelope. Now, 5x86 could do it, and every Intel could do it. But this one, literally a very short-lived 486 series before they upgraded. But I built 2 of them, and neither one could print an envelope.
Well, so that's what I was getting at, though. When I guess that was kind of, I suspect, anyways, when I was thinking in my mind about compatibility, even though the motherboard is the right socket and says it's compatible with the processor and whatnot, and they come from reputable companies, it isn't verified that, like, you know, it's not a server that they say guaranteed to work. Here's the hardware, you know, here you go. So I wonder.
When Windows first came out and they ran it on AMD, Windows 8, this machine was a disaster. It was literally a disaster, and it took took Windows 8 probably about 2 years before this machine was actually properly stable. Now I can leave it running for months at a time, and it's perfectly
You're
fine.
talking about the Bulldozer?
Yeah, the Bulldozer AMD architecture. When you know, because Bulldozer came out at the same time Windows 8. It was really a very small. At that point, AMD was really barely hanging in there.
But Bulldozer was the gimmick. It was like this is it for the next step for AMD. You're going to get 6 cores, you know.
Right, 8 cores, exactly. And that's where I went for it at the time. And if you ran Windows 8 and you put a Vera or a Vest, I think it was a Vest antivirus on your machine, you were going to crash and burn it at least once a week. It just wasn't going to run.
Well, Father Fish found his magnifier. I know you can't.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about. Those are, you know, like I said,
I've got another.
they're all walking around with those on their head.
Yeah, I got another one somewhere. It's got
We
a
can't
little
hear
light.
you. I don't know. You must have plugged your microphone back into the microphone jack or something when you put it on charger. What did you do?
Yeah,
Oh,
I did.
it's plugged in through USB.
I did.
There you go. You're back. So now you're back. Yeah. So yeah, those things are great. Like I said, I got to try one at somebody else's fish room. They're really nice. You walk up to the fish tank and you know,
I was
You're-
gonna say that's for fish keepers, jewelers, what else?
Right.
And there was a
Can't-
point at
you
which
can't
the
get the
very
good ones. The online ones are crappy. They're kind of fancy and useless. These are.
oh yeah,
I got
the
a half a dozen of
old-
these at a flea market years ago for about $6 a piece, and they're great. But you
Flea
can't get them
markets are a
anymore.
good place to find good quality stuff that people have no idea, and it's all stuff that's made better.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, well, I think we've burned this one out, got on enough tangents here. I didn't mean to do that, but got me going on the LEDs there, so.
Sounds like fun.
All right.
Everybody have a happy election day tomorrow. I hope your candidate
Oh, yeah.
wins.
I don't hope your candidate wins.
Unless you, no, I won't say that. I hope your candidate wins,
Right.
and have a great day. Have a great evening. It's been a pleasure.
See you
Yeah.
Thursday.
Get out and vote.
See you Thursday. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's interesting. My mouse
Did you-
won't move. My
did you
mouse
cut-
won't move. Well, oh, I got it turned off. Now it'll move. See?
You unplugged it to plug in your microphone?
Well, I got a
Yeah.
bunch of these little, what are they called? These
Cords?
things.
Oh, you got a like a splitter or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, I've got 6 or 8 items on it. Amazing how they keep track of themselves.
Yeah, well, I think we're still live, but are you things working out better with that computer than the old one?
Oh, yeah.
You burned the other one?